Chapter 145. A bunch of fools, a bunch of demons. Liang Yongqi won't stay here anymore. Liang Yongqi walked out of Marshall Path Mountain. He was so furious that tears were about to flow out. Were they still humans? They suppressed him so much. Not to mention Lin Fan, just that Zhang Tianshan, what was so good about him? He caused Marshall Path Mountain to go bankrupt. Wasn't he the one who pulled him up? As for that Lin Fan, he was just a beast. He took away all the money on them and let himself eat and drink. Did he even have a conscience? Speaking of which, he was about to cry. He rode the horse and was about to leave without turning his head. Suddenly, he pulled the reins and stopped on spot. The environment in front of him was a little terrifying. For some reason, he came to a really dense but dark forest. Something seemed to have flashed by just now. It was a red glow. The setting sun was slowly disappearing, and a warning line was drawn between the forest and the outside world. This warning line continued to shrink. A sense of danger surged into his heart, like something terrifying was about to happen. His ears trembled slightly as he heard some very strange sounds. These sounds were really weak. Demons. He suddenly recalled that there were demons around Jiang City that would come out at night. Just at that moment, he noticed that the light that separated the two areas was shrinking. He was so terrified that his head was covered in sweat. Zhang Tianshan, you bastard, purposely angering me and running out without thinking. He pulled the reins and turned around to run. Quick, run, horse run. He turned his head occasionally. The setting sun slowly disappeared, and he could even see things slowly climbing out of the forest like they were waiting for the darkness to descend. Damn, save me, Liang Yongqi shouted. He was nearly frightened to death by his own stupidity. Usually, he would be able to take it. Why couldn't he take it today? Run. He had to run. If the demons caught up, he would be ripped apart. Marshall Path Mountain. Yuan Tianshu looked at the room that didn't light up. He didn't expect that Liang Yongqi would actually leave. How stupid. Even if he wanted to leave, he chose to leave in the morning. Night was about to descend, so wasn't he asking to die? Those things outside, who knew if he wouldn't bump into them? He left. Zhang Tianshan only saw Yuan Tianshu and didn't see Liang Yongqi. He was a little worried. Yes, he was humiliated by you and left in anger. Yuan Tianshu said. Zhang Tianshan's expression changed, and he raged. Is he sick in the head? To leave now, does he want to die? As soon as he finished speaking, Zhang Tianshan immediately went down the mountain. It was already dark. If that brat encountered a devil, he would have no chance of survival. Yuan Tianshu's expression changed. He didn't expect that Zhang Tianshan would personally go down the mountain to find Liang Yongqi. This was different from what he had expected. Logically speaking, Zhang Tianshan definitely wouldn't go, but his actions were a little problematic. He pondered for a moment. Yuan Tianshu was shocked. What a brilliant plan. He understood. Zhang Tianshan purposely insulted Liang Yongqi. Maybe he thought that Liang Yongqi wouldn't be able to take it and directly leave Marshall Path Mountain. At that time, night would descend, and the demons would come out to make Liang Yongqi face them. When he was in despair, he would save him, leaving his image in Liang Yongqi's heart. This made Liang Yongqi shed tears of gratitude and pulled him to his side. Wait a minute. What was so good about Liang Yongqi? No. So that was the case. He started from the weakest and slowly bought their hearts. In the future, when they fought for the sect leader position, everyone would stand by his side. Amazing, as expected, amazing. He planned step by step, actually thinking so far ahead. However, that was just so. Yuan Tianshu had already seen through it. It wouldn't be so easy to buy him over. Kiki. Yuan Tianshu felt that he was the most clear-headed of all of them. Even if their actions were deeply hidden, as long as a single clue was exposed, he would be able to unravel the cocoon and follow the vine to the melon to find the ultimate source. No one could hide from his eyes. When he thought about that, Yuan Tianshu smiled. He smiled confidently. He felt like he was an expert. No one's little secret could escape from his eyes. This idiot, Zhang Tianshan, rode his horse and looked into the distance. Demon aura gathered there, and it was obvious that they had already moved out. He really didn't expect that the young people now were so fragile. He didn't say anything too overboard, so why were they so fragile? If it was other people, forget it. The key was that they lived in Marshall Path Mountain for a period of time, so at least they had some feelings. Moreover, as the deputy sect leader, he was also the grand disciple, so how could he not care? Hayes, he had to teach him when he returned. What young master, his mentality was just too weak. Not long later, he heard shouts. "Don't chase me, I was wrong. Let me go. Save me. I have a disease, my whole family has a disease. Don't eat me." Liang Yongqi's face was covered in tears and mucus. The horse was running, and something was chasing behind. It was really quick, and in just a short while he would be caught. Instantly, a demon jumped into the air, spreading its limbs and pouncing towards Liang Yongqi. Liang Yongqi's pupils constricted. His pants were wet. He was in despair. "I'm going to die. I am really going to die. Father, I am leaving." Pung! Just at that moment, a white light exploded in front of Liang Yongqi and covered the demon. The demon roared like it had suffered some kind of injury. When it landed, its claws grabbed Liang Yongqi's horse, directly leaving a long bloody mark. The horse felt pain and tossed Liang Yongqi off. Liang Yongqi exclaimed, and his body shook. Just as he was in despair, a hand grabbed him. "Kid, hold tight. I will take care of you when we return." Zhang Tianshan's expression was solemn. He pulled the reins and changed directions, heading towards Marshall Path Mountain. When Liang Yongqi saw who it was, he instantly felt that the despicable Zhang Tianshan was like a hero who stepped on a rainbow cloud to welcome him. "Deputy sect leader, I was afraid I was wrong." Liang Yongqi was so frightened that he cried. His heart was really weak. He was scared witless by the demons. "Stop crying. If you know fear, then why didn't you do it earlier?" Zhang Tianshan held a bamboo tube the length of a palm. He pinched it with 2 fingers and then tossed it behind him. A golden light seeped out from the broken bamboo tube, and it lit up Zhang Tianshan's back. The demon screamed, but more demons chased crazily towards Zhang Tianshan. "Kid, can you stop moving your hands? If you continue, I will toss you down." Zhang Tianshan scolded. Liang Yongqi was too timid. After Zhang Tianshan saved him, he grabbed onto Zhang Tianshan. Life and death was a huge terror. He could be considered to have personally experienced that terror. Zhang Tianshan didn't even turn his head. More and more bamboo tubes appeared in his hands, and he just tossed them behind him. These things wouldn't kill the demons, but they could stop the demons. After a long while, Zhang Tianshan brought Liang Yongqi up Marshall Path Mountain. The demons followed closely behind, surrounding Marshall Path Mountain. They screamed and then retreated like a flood. "What are you thinking? Do you really want to die?" Zhang Tianshan asked. Liang Yongqi's face was ashen white, and he shivered. "No, I don't want to die. I regret it. Deputy sect leader, thank you. Thank you for saving me." Zhang Tianshan smiled. "Now you know that I am the deputy sect leader?" In. Liang Yongqi nodded his head. How would he dare to say no? What happened just now terrified him. If Zhang Tianshan hadn't rushed over in time, his life would have been lost. Yuan Tianshu saw Liang Yongqi return a daze and understood that Zhang Tianshan had succeeded. That was the first step. Following that, there would be a second and third step. When he was free, he would head to the secret room to have a good chat with the demons. The big demons were the most tragic ones. At the start, the big demons were unyielding, willing to fight against humans. They would rather die than submit. However, as the humans used more and more methods, they became more and more perverted. They couldn't take it anymore. Burning, stabbing, pulling out tongues, everything was perverted. There were already small demons that were tortured to death. They couldn't take the frequent and strong attacks from the enemy. The demons' rage points were limited. Such frequent torture made them used to it. Maybe because they gave up on themselves, their rage points didn't increase. What a waste. Their mentality wasn't strong enough. A few days later, night fell. In the Wolf Brigade forest, 3 people appeared. One of them was huge, but looked really haggard. He was actually being supported by two small and weak bodies. The two small demons that were supporting the big demon screamed towards the forest. Very quickly, there was movement. Numerous demons appeared. When they saw those scenes, they didn't dare to believe their eyes. The demons in the forest screamed and talked to the demons that returned. "We are back. Take a look at him. He was tortured so badly by the humans. Bastard, he is a demon. He tortured us in all sorts of ways." The two small demons supported the big demon as they walked into the darkness. The surrounding demons stared at the big demon. They were astonished. What happened? What kind of torture did the big demon face? Why did he feel like his mind wasn't clear? His body was bleeding black blood, and he even lost a lot of flesh, especially his back, which had a huge wound. What did he face? The big demon was really weak. He didn't have any strength at all. He was like a few hundred men locked in a room for days. The big demon was supported onto a stone and laid there. Demons sent flesh and blood over. However, the big demon couldn't open his mouth. Even if he did, it was useless. He had no teeth, and many things on his body were dug out. The big demon looked at his race with his red eyes. His aura became weaker and weaker as he said with much difficulty, remember, if you end up in the hands of that Marshall Path Mountain person, don't wait to be saved. Kill yourself. You have to kill yourself." The moment he said that, the big demon slowly closed his eyes. The pain in his body and mental state all disappeared at that moment. Numerous demons raised their heads and screamed. "Why did that have to happen? We're just eating a little bit of human flesh. Is that wrong?" Chapter 146. Rage Points. 20737. The rage points of the demons won't continue to grow. As they continue to be tortured, it will turn into fear, causing it to be unable to reach its peak. During this period of time, he slowly noticed a theory. If that was the case, to maximize the benefits, he had to shoot once and then slow down. After a period of time, when they forgot about the pain, he would shoot once more. To be more direct, he would beat them up. After a period of time, when they recovered and forgot about the pain, when their emotions returned to their peak, he would beat them up again. This cycle would continue. However, this was a little problematic. It wasn't his style. He didn't like to let go of people who offended him. Normally, he liked to kill them. However, if that was the case, he would suffer huge losses. Actually, it wasn't impossible. He was a rich family young master, and his hands weren't stained with blood. He had always been determined to be an exquisite rich family young master. He had to be magnanimous. He felt that he was a magnanimous person and was friendly to everyone. Even if they had conflicts, it wasn't a problem. He would just smile and forget about it. For example, Chun Xingyao. He told the Wolf Brigade to trample Marshall Path Mountain, but he didn't say anything and even smiled at him. Normal people couldn't reach such a mentality. Let's not think about all that and add points first. He would raise his internal strength first. Now, his internal and external realms had reached peak Marshall Path Grade 9. Improve. His internal strength started to jump bit by bit. Now, 1 point needed 400, and it was slowly increasing. However, it was still okay, and there weren't any huge fluctuations. Internal strength, 300, Marshall Path Grade 10. Instantly, the internal energy within his body exploded. Something was born out of nothing, and dense internal energy filled his body. He felt that he had truly stepped into the ranks of experts. Although he didn't know how strong he was, he definitely wasn't weak. He was left with 8,000 rage points, but he didn't use it to raise physique or mixed energy broken jade hand. He was the clearest about his current situation. Unmovable bright king body and purple sun, 4 holy scripture. These two techniques, one focused on internal and the other focused on external, definitely couldn't be moved. Only Thunderblade, 4 styles, and mixed elements broken jade hand could be exchanged and refreshed. In the end, he didn't have enough rage points. If he had enough, then there wouldn't be so many problems. He was not in a hurry. This was just the beginning. He had not reached the end yet. He realized that cultivation was really a technical activity. It was not easy to do without some brains. Marshall Path Mountain dining area. Sect leader, I noticed that the furniture you bought from me has been used. Those merchants are so despicable. Zhang Tianshan was furious, but he could accept it. He just grumbled a little. Lin Fan said, yes, there are profiteers everywhere. In the future, you have to be careful when you buy things. At this moment, Zhang Tianshan's bowl was empty. Liang Yongqi placed down his bowl and chopsticks and scooped porridge for Zhang Tianshan. Zhang Tianshan was used to it. He looked at what Lin Fan was eating and said enviously, Sect leader, when can the few of us eat that of yours? We are sick of eating plain porridge every day. Lin Fan looked at Liang Yongqi. Did this fellow see a ghost? In just a few days, he was so respectful to Zhang Tianshan. You guys don't need to. My cousin and I are weak, and we need these to replenish our energy. You guys are healthy, and eating too much isn't good for your health. Lin Fan said, F***CK. Was this something a human could say? He was just shameless. Zhang Tianshan was speechless. You are amazing. I haven't found any words to retort. His heart was tired. Marshall Path Mountain was filled with unfairness. As the deputy sect leader, he had the responsibility to let the people of Marshall Path Mountain enjoy fair treatment. But the kid was a little fierce. Yuan Tianshu drank the porridge and slowly became silent. He looked on with a sneaky gaze. Replenish, continue to replenish. In the end, you will realize that you have nothing. Didn't he see the relationship between Liang Yongqi and Zhang Tianshan? The two of them were bickering with one another a while ago, but now they weren't. Didn't he feel a bit of danger? Now that Marshall Path Mountain was preparing to be repaired, Gozi found people to work on the request that Lin Fan told Gozi. Fake mountain fountain, 3-story leisure building. There were many places that needed to be repaired. Anyways, it would cost a large sum of silver to fix everything. Jiang City. The commoners returned to normal. The only change was that when the sky was about to turn dark, no matter how busy they would return to the city and not stay outside. The city was safe, but that didn't mean that demons didn't exist. Chun Xingyao didn't have time to mess around with the commoners. Father was dead, and Chun family lacked a pillar. The merchants in the city didn't give them face and were fighting for territory with them. If not for manager Yu trying to persuade them, he would have raised his blade and chopped them all to death. In the past, they didn't have the balls to fight with my Chin family. The moment my father died, all of them jumped out. City gate. A girl mixed into the crowd and entered the city. Very quickly, she disappeared. Not long later, 3 males rode horses into the city, but they were stopped by the guards. Horses weren't allowed in. The 3 of them had blades by their waists. One of them had a fierce gaze and wanted to slash the guard to death. However, he was stopped by the people at the side. Remember our mission, don't cause trouble. The one-eyed male got off the horse and looked at the guard. Once the mission ended, he would kill him. If the guard found out, just because he said that horses weren't allowed in the city and one had to get off the horse, he would be hated. He would definitely shout that he was wronged. He didn't do anything wrong, so why did they want to kill him? Couldn't they be more reasonable? Big brother, where are we going to find her? The one-eyed male asked. There is no rush. She can't escape. The male who was called Big Brother had a black iron mask on half his face. His gaze was really sharp. He didn't care about such a small city like Jiang City. He then saw the notice on the city walls and directly tore it down. Let's go to Chun family. Chun Manor. Chun Xingyao's days didn't change much. But in his heart, he was still thinking about Prince Xiao Qi. It wasn't easy for a guy to think about another guy. Without a certain level of feelings, one definitely wouldn't be able to do that. Suddenly, Li Tsong charged in. Young master, not good. Someone kicked open our Chun Manor door and charged in. He even injured many of us. What? Chun Xingyao got up. His face was dark and sunken. Who doesn't want to live? Do they think that I am easy to bully? Let's go and see who it is. Hall. The 3 men stood there, and there were quite a few servants lying around them. The servants were howling in grief, in great pain. Chun Xingyao charged out in rage and hollered, Hu Shua. He didn't finish. A snow-white blade was on his shoulder. It was close to his neck, and one could feel the cold sharpness. Do you want to die or live? The masked male asked coldly. Gulp. Chun Xingyao shifted his feet and wanted to move the blade away, but the blade followed his footsteps. His face was covered in cold sweat. It came too quickly, and he wasn't prepared at all. This? Good man, let's talk things out, don't be rash. Chun Xingyao said nervously. What kind of world was this? His father had just died, and so many things had come to his door. Father, how much trouble did you cause for me? Now those bastards in the city are snatching my territory, and someone came to my door with a blade. My heart couldn't take it. Look carefully. Do you recognize the girl in the picture? Chun Xingyao stared at the picture. Good man, I can't remember this picture. Why don't you tell me the name, and I will find it for you? The masked male said, Yang Fei, Father Yang, Mother Qinyu. She and her mother are the only ones in the family. Father died a long time ago. This. Chun Xingyao sensed thick, killing intent from his body. He wasn't joking, and if he didn't know, then he would really die. Oh my God, who did he offend? At that moment, he noticed that the blade on his neck was a little closer. He was a little impatient and was about to attack. He was so terrified that his soul was about to fly away. Li Tsong, what did you die to? Come out and see whether or not you recognize this person. Chun Xingyao shouted. When Li Tsong saw the situation, he hid behind the pillar and didn't dare to come out. However, since young master called him, he didn't dare to not come out. Good men, don't be rash. Let me take a look. Li Tsong's hands trembled as he took a close look at the picture. Hurry up and tell this hero where this woman's home is. Hero, don't be rash. I'll help you capture this woman and torture her, said Chun Xingyao. They came out of nowhere, and they didn't even know their names. If they were killed because of this, they wouldn't even be able to cry. Li Tsong panicked. Don't rush. I am looking. I am thinking that she does look familiar. Oh, I know. It is in the west of the city. The three of them looked at one another. Go, bring us there. Don't think about playing tricks. If you lie to us, your head will fall to the ground. If it is true, then we will let you live. The masked male said, West of the city. The houses here were all next to each other. It was really tough to find people here, but luckily they had names. Li Tsong pulled a passerby. Where is Yang Shi's home? The passerby shrunk his neck. It is in front. Instantly, the three of them released Chun Xingyao and dashed forward. Chun Xingyao and Li Tsong ran right away. If they didn't run now, then they would be fools. Where did these three lunatics come from? They even dared to kidnap the Chun family young master. Did they still want to live in Jiang City? The three of them came to an old and broken house. The one-eyed male kicked the door open. He saw a person lying on the bed and charged over to grab her. However, he noticed that the old woman had no aura at all. The corpse was still warm, and it was obvious that she had just died. Big brother, she is dead, the one-eyed male shouted. The masked male walked in and saw the dead old woman. His expression was really ugly. Yang Fei, as expected from the gang leader's concubine. She is so vicious and doesn't even show mercy when killing her own mother. Big brother, this place was opened. It seems like she took the thing away. Another male looked at a brick that was removed. There was a palm-sized space inside. The masked male thought about it. Search, she hasn't left Jiang City. The masked male said coldly. The bug in a box by his waist didn't move, which meant that it was nearby and hadn't left. Chapter 147. Chun Xingyao was so scared that he didn't dare to return to the Chun family. He could only hide outside with Li Kong. Where did these three burly men come from? Never seen it before. Just like that, he appeared out of nowhere, holding a knife to his neck and threatening him. This was something Chun Xingyao could not accept. As the Chun family's young master, when had he ever been threatened like this before? This was clearly looking down on the Chun family. Young master, where are we going now? Li Tsong was like a bird startled by the mere twang of a bowstring as he observed the situation around him. He had never experienced the feeling of being threatened in River Town, especially in the Chun family. Chun Xingyao's face was gloomy. Let's hide first. We won't return to the Chun family for the time being. Those despicable guys will probably look for us after seeing us run. Young master, why not head to Marshall Path Mountain? Li Tsong said. He was thinking about Marshall Path Mountain. Since he saw Lin Fan's strength, he felt that Marshall Path Mountain was the safest place if he faced trouble. Shua. Li Tsong felt that young master's gaze was filled with killing intent. Holy shit, did I say something wrong again? He didn't feel that he had said anything wrong. Wasn't it normal to seek help from an expert when in danger? Li Tsong, do you know what will happen if we go to Marshall Path Mountain? Don't tell me about Marshall Path Mountain. Even if I die, I won't go. Chen Shengyao said fiercely. He was sick in the head. Chun family and Marshall Path Mountain had conflicts. If they headed to Marshall Path Mountain when they faced danger, then where would Chun family's face be? Li Tsong looked at Chen Shengyao. Something wasn't right. A while ago, when Jiang City was uncertain whether or not it was safe, didn't young master run to Marshall Path Mountain to seek refuge? Why did he feel that it was inappropriate this time? Or was it that the danger was not clear? He had yet to feel the immense pressure from the crisis. But there was no other way. Whatever the young master said, how would Li Tsong dare to refute? Yes, young master's right. We won't head to Marshall Path Mountain. Li Tsong agreed with young master, but he was thinking about where to hide was the safest. So many things had never happened in Rivertown before. During this period of time, there were more and more things happening. There were so many of them that it was scary. Jiang City was shrouded in an unprecedented crisis. In the end, Chun Shengyao brought Li Tsong to hide in the biggest brothel in the city. In such a place, no one should be able to find them. Within Jiang City, the three men were still searching for Yang Fei. Yang Fei was the gang leader's concubine. She had been in hiding for many years and had stolen the gang's most respected treasure. If it wasn't for the fact that it was discovered early, it would have been very difficult for them to find out. Big bro, if we continue to search like this, who knows how long we'll have to continue? The one-eyed man said. The masked man's face was cold. Then he squatted down and placed his palm on the ground. Instantly, his arm was covered with countless tiny insects. These insects were smaller than grains of rice, and they quickly attacked in all directions. Since we can't find her, then we'll just force her out. There are people dying in this small city, and they died for her. The masked man said, although these insects would not actively attack people, they like to attach themselves to the human body, entering the body through various small holes, slowly laying eggs in the human body, and then breaking out of the eggs. At the same time, it was extremely useful in finding Yang Fei. Therefore, if someone was infected, they could only blame their bad luck. The next day, Old Li was a pork vendor. Although he looked a bit fierce, he had a gentle personality and had a good relationship with the surrounding residents. Old Li, your face doesn't look good. Are you sick? The regular customer who came to buy meat felt that Old Li's face was ashen white, and there was no blood at all. His eyes were blurry, and there were small black dots. No, I've always been good, Old Li said. His voice was really soft and weak. Maybe it is a cold. The regular customer didn't think much about it, and lowered his head to pick the meat. Suddenly, fresh blood slowly flowed on the meat stall. Old Li, how did your pig blood? The customer raised his head. Before he finished, he saw that Old Li's mouth was covered in fresh blood. There was also a large amount of blood flowing from his nose. Ah, they exclaimed. The commoners all gathered over. When they saw Old Li's state, they were all shocked. Damn, what happened? What was going on with Old Li? Why did he bleed so much? Did he get sick? Ugh, Old Li's stomach moved. He opened his mouth, and a large number of black worms gushed out, landing directly on the stall. These worms were pitch black and had hard shells. They were very, very small, and they were all larvae. They were many times smaller than rice grains. If one didn't look carefully, they would probably be ignored as dust. At this moment, not only were bugs surging out from his mouth, but even his nostrils and eyes had large amounts of bugs surging out. Ah! The commoners panicked and shouted. When had they seen such a scene before? They were so terrified that their souls flew away. The area around the stall was occupied by bugs. Those bugs pounced on Old Li and covered him. Quickly find young Master Chen. They remembered that the prince told them to find young Master Chen if they had any problems. Chen Manor's gate was broken by the commoners. Steward Yu was dumbfounded. Something happened in the city, and they needed young Master to solve it. Oh my God, were these commoners real or fake? Did they really care about the prince's words? Didn't they know what kind of person their young master was? They actually came here to find young master. Why did it feel like they treated young master as their protector? Manager Yu, Oldly who sells pork, is in trouble. Is young Master Chin here? We are anxiously waiting for him to settle the situation. The commoners blocked the gate and asked about young Master Chin's whereabouts. Quiet. My young master wasn't here last night and isn't here now. Manager Yu said. He couldn't handle the changes. In the past, the commoners feared the Chun family, but looking at the situation, it was different. Why did it feel like the commoners treated young master as their pillar? What? Young Master Chin isn't here? What should we do? I know where young Master Chan is. Yesterday, I saw young Master Chin head to the brothel. Let's go. Let's head to the brothel to find young Master Chun. Only young Master Chun can solve this. Instantly, the commoners scattered and headed towards the brothel. Jiang City's brothel was huge. The old brothel owner waited at the entrance. Recently, business wasn't good, and she was helpless. The girls were all complaining that there weren't any customers. Suddenly, she saw commoners surge over from afar, and they all pointed at the brothel. Oh my God, a huge business was about to arrive. The commoners ate their fill and had extra money to spend here. That was definitely the case. There was definitely no mistake. Girls come out to receive the guests. A large number of important guests are here. The old brothel owner smiled. Just as she went up to receive them, the commoners pushed her aside. Young Master Chun, young Master Chun. The commoners charged into the brothel to search for young Master Chun. The old brothel owner was pushed to the ground and cursed in her heart. Damn, what was going on? Didn't they come to enjoy themselves? Why did it feel like they came to find someone? Within the brothel's top girl's room, Chun Shengyao laid on the bed comfortably. Coming here last night was the right decision. Not only did he feel comfortable, but he also ensured his safety. Pa! The door was pushed open. A bunch of commoners surged in. Ah! The girl serving Chun Shengyao shouted in panic. What happened? Young Master Chun came to the brothel, and people dared to cause trouble. Chun Shengyao was so frightened that he jumped up. He was naked and thought that those 3 people were attacking him. When he saw that it was a bunch of commoners, he reacted. Damn, what did they want to do? Were they arrogant? Or was it that Chun Shengyao couldn't even lift a blade? Young Master Chun, we finally found you. Something happened. The pork seller Oldly died, and he died in such a tragic manner. Right, young Master Chun. Only you can take charge of the situation. The commoners said one by one. Some of them wanted to bring Chun Shengyao away. Wait, I will wear my clothes. Chun Shengyao waved his hands. Oh my God, were the commoners so fierce? They weren't afraid of Chun Shengyao. This was simply unbelievable. Also, what did the death of the pork seller have to do with him? When Li Tsong heard that there was movement, he pulled up his pants and was prepared to charge over. However, when he saw so many commoners, he suppressed himself. He couldn't be too rash and had a look at the situation. Chun Shengyao was surrounded by a bunch of commoners as he walked out of the brothel. His mind was in a mess. He was having a good time. So what were they doing? What was going on that caused things to turn out like this? I'm not AF Astra's king god. Why are you looking for me when there's a murder? He was the rich Chun family young master. Thinking back to what Prince Shao Qi said before he left, he felt that the commoners believed his words. Very quickly, under the protection of the commoners, Chun Shengyao came to Old Li's stall. Many commoners surrounded him. Move aside, young Master Chun is here. Let young Master Chun in. Some commoners shouted. Instantly, there was a round of cheers. Young Master Chun is here. Let young Master Chun see what is going on. Hearing those voices, Chun Shengyao felt bitter in his heart. What was the point of him coming? He wasn't a detective. If it was bullying girls or slashing people, he would be more skilled. As for this, they found the wrong person. However, when he looked at the situation, he nearly spat out the food he ate last night. Old Li's death was really tragic. As time went on, his flesh and blood were eaten by the bugs, and one could see his white bones. Young master, this situation isn't something we can handle. Li Tsong said softly. Were the commoners fools? Couldn't they see how tragic the person who died was? Did they really think that young master knew about all this? I know. Chun Xingyao said, and then looked at the commoners. He was bitten to death by bugs. The commoners discussed. Young Master Chen was right. Old Li was bitten to death by bugs. Chun Xingyao didn't dare to get close to take a look. Didn't they see that the bugs were still alive? At the same time, more bugs surged out from Old Li's body, and he felt like there were more and more of them. Young Master Chun, you have to find out the truth about why Old Li was bitten to death by bugs. Otherwise, we won't be able to feel at ease. The commoners placed their hopes on Chun Xingyao. Chun Xingyao was helpless. Damn, what did this have to do with me? What was the point of calling me over? Chapter 148. Chun Xingyao was annoyed. Where do you want me to find the truth? If he had to say it, the truth was very simple. The butcher had eaten something unclean, and the worms had escaped. It was so simple, but he felt that things weren't so simple. Last night, after those 3 men came to Qin Manor, there was a murder. It definitely had something to do with those 3, but those 3 weren't people to be offended. So what if he knew who it was? He would tell them who did it. If they had the balls, then attack. In the crowd, Yang Fei looked at the situation and retreated. She was searching for a chance to leave. She was even thinking about how to kill the 3 of them to end the danger. However, she knew that it was tough, unless she had helpers. At the scene, Chun Xingyao told people to burn the corpses. With those bugs gathered together, it was just so disgusting. The commoners lit the fire and didn't dare to get close. They only dared to toss the torches over from afar. Zzz. The flames burned brighter and brighter. There was also that crunching sound. What was more terrifying was that there was actually the smell of roasted bugs. It was a little perverted and disgusting. Qin Manor. Young Master, what do you think the commoners treat us as? Li Tsong asked. Jiang City had a prefect, but that prefect was just a figurehead. Before Prince Shaoqi left, he told the people to find Chun family if they had any problems. Didn't that mean that Chun family had to do things for the commoners? If Old Master was still alive, he would definitely spit out blood. My Chun family started off as bandits and killed many people. What bad things have we not done? Now you're actually helping commoners to do things. Where's the honor of my Chun family? I treat it as doing things. Chun Xingyao said. He treated it like it was free. Everything was given to him by the prince. He didn't feel anything, but now he noticed that there was a trap within. Moreover, he was willing to jump into it. It was true that the mountains were high and the emperor was far away. The key was that it was hard to stop the commoners. It was easy to spread it out. If the prince found out that not only did he not do things, but he was also going against him, that he would stop everything and stare at him. Would he be afraid? Truth? Where would he find the truth? The next day, Jiang City shook once more. 2 more people died. They died in the same way as the pork seller. The people of Jiang City fell into a state of panic again. The gates of the Qin Manor were trampled on once again. Chun Xingyao was annoyed to the point that he couldn't sit still anymore. Damn, why do you have to stare at me? I can't do anything about it. However, the inexplicable deaths made Chun Xingyao panic. At this rate, no one knew who would be the next to die. Marshall Path Mountain. Lin Fan was lying on a deck chair worth tens of taels of silver, eating fruits and swinging his legs. He was carefree and happy. His life was very leisurely. In just a short while, Marshall Path Mountain would be brand new and a huge change would occur. Sect leader Lin. He was really happy and even tried to suck up to him. Lin Fan glanced. The one who spoke was Li Kong. As for Chun Xingyao, he walked over slowly, looking a little unwilling. Damn, he actually came. He didn't want to have anything to do with Marshall Path Mountain. After all, they had conflicts. However, Chun Xingyao was on the verge of a mental breakdown after the insect killing case that had happened in the past 2 days. The people trusted him and surrounded the Chun Manor every day. If his father wasn't dead and he let them surround him, they would definitely regret having one less leg. Lin Fan didn't bother and just laid there leisurely. Go Zi waved his fan at the side. Young Master was used to such a life. Li Tsong saw that Lin Fan didn't bother about him, so he stood beside Young Master. It was better for Young Master to speak. Chun Xingyao took in a deep breath and said, Sect leader Lin, are you resting? Aren't you talking nonsense? Lin Fan said. Rage points plus 66. Chun Shengyao squinted his eyes. Could he speak properly? He was just concerned about whether or not he was resting. Why did he have to say that? Why did he have to say that? It was just too hurtful. However, he had no choice. He was forced by the Jiang City people, such that he didn't dare to head out. The moment he did, he would be surrounded by people asking about the truth of the bug-killing case. He wanted to holler. He wasn't a detective. He was just a rich family young master. Chun Shengyao calmed down the helplessness in his heart. Sect Leader Lin, recently there's been a bug-killing case. I hope that Sect Leader Lin can take a look and help solve it. Lin Fan turned his head and said, Are you representing the Jiang City people, or just you? Chun Shengyao was stunned. Didn't that mean that it was the same for everyone? I represent the Jiang City people. Not bad. Lin Fan was interested. He didn't expect that before Marshall Path Mountain opened, business would come so quickly. It seems like young Master Chun is the representative of the Jiang City people and wants to hire Marshall Path Mountain to protect Jiang City. How about 48,000 silver a year? Lin Fan said. Chun Shengyao was stunned. Sect Leader Lin, what is this money? Lin Fan said, This is a protection fee. If Jiang City has problems that you can't solve, then we will. In the future, as long as Jiang City has problems, my Marshall Path Mountain won't sit still and not do anything. Damn, that was just too much. 4,000 silver a month. He was robbing money. Sect Leader Lin, this has nothing to do with me. I am just representing the Jiang City people to find Marshall Path Mountain for help. Chun Shengyao said. Lin Fan smiled. If it has nothing to do with you, then why did you come? It isn't that Marshall Path Mountain doesn't want to help for free, but we have no choice. We have a huge business and many people in the future. Without income, what will Marshall Path Mountain eat and drink? Am I right? Moreover, is 4,000 a month expensive? It isn't expensive at all. The people in the city are happy to take out 1 copper each, and that is enough. Zhang Tianshan made Marshall Path Mountain bankrupt, and that was the outcome of not having any business. He wouldn't follow in his footsteps. Sect Leader Lin, your Marshall Path Mountain only has 6 people, so how will it not have enough to eat and wear? Li Tsong said. He felt that Marshall Path Mountain was really evil. All they cared about was money. I'm talking about the future. Young Master Chun, you should think about it. You can find me when you are done. Lin Fan said. He then closed his eyes and leisurely enjoyed life. Chun Shengyao didn't leave. It wasn't that he didn't want to, but that he really couldn't. As long as he returned, the people would surround him and ask him about this and that, making his head hurt. In the end, what did this have to do with him? Actually, it had nothing to do with him at all. Sect Leader Lin, can you make it cheaper? Chun Shengyao asked. 4,000 a month was a little expensive. If he had to pay, he would have to pay for it first. If he couldn't, then he would have to pay. Before coming to Marshall Path Mountain, he had thought about it. He had to pay something. Skills don't bargain. Moreover, it is tough for Marshall Path Mountain to protect Jiang City. Sometimes when danger comes, Marshall Path Mountain people have to charge up. They are all risking their lives. Or is young Master Chin's life not worth 48,000 a year? Lin Fan was really calm. Defending against the Een demons cost 60,000 a year. If they negotiated this Jiang City job, then Marshall Path Mountain's net income would be 108,000 silver a year. This was already a terrifying number. Chun Shengyao felt really bitter. Damn, Your Royal Highness, you really screwed me over. If you gave me some benefits, I would have some motivation. Now, I felt like I was trapped. Go. Z listened on and realized that young Master had a talent in business. When he was in U City, he didn't see it. Who knew that after coming to Jiang City, young Master's talent exploded out? Fortunately, Zhang Tianshan wasn't here. If he knew that protecting Jiang City required 48,000 a year, he would have been terrified. The price was too bold. If he was the one asking for it, a few thousand a year would do. Li Tsong said softly, Young Master, why not set up a Marshall Path Mountain Protection Organization in Jiang City and split it among everyone? Actually, there isn't much. If we solve this matter quickly, then we can be at ease. Those 3 men are still in the city, so only Marshall Path Mountain can solve it. That was the truth. Bugs killing people made one panic. To Chen Xingyao and Li Tsong, bugs killing people was still okay. The key was those three men. If they didn't agree with one word, they would pull out their blades and threaten them. That was the true danger. Chen Xingyao thought about it for a long while. Okay. Lin Fan smiled. Let's go, let's head to the city. He brought his cousin over while the others stayed behind to defend Marshall Path Mountain. Marshall Path Mountain hadn't even opened, but they already had a long-term income. This meant that Marshall Path Mountain had a future. Jiang City, commoner houses. The commoners are surrounded outside, and no one dared to enter. It was so terrifying inside. The moment Chen Xingyao arrived, he was surrounded by commoners. It was tough for him to kill a path out. Could they let him settle the matter first? Now that they were all surrounding him, how was he supposed to deal with it? Sect Leader Lin, 2 people died today. This is one of them, the one whose soul pork was burned. Chen Xingyao said. Lin Fan pushed the door and entered. The room was still lit up. There was a corpse on the bed, but it couldn't be called a corpse anymore as it was covered by black bugs. Moreover, there were some bugs in the corners of the room. Suddenly, a small bug landed on his face, quickly entering his nostrils and entering his body. Lin Fan didn't kill the bug, but he sensed the changes in his body. After the bug landed in his body, it started to lay eggs. It was really quick, unlike normal bugs. So that was the case. He used internal strength to kill the bugs and eggs in his body. Those people had bugs enter their bodies, and large amounts of eggs were laid. When the eggs hatched, they directly broke out of their bodies. Although he knew, but it was far from enough. Why would there be these bugs in a place like Jiang City? He had to dig out the mastermind. Silver wasn't so easy to earn. After taking it, he had to do work. How tiring. When he saw bugs, he thought about the bug controlling technique. This cultivation technique was for playing with bugs. Refresh. He raised the bug controlling technique to the returning to true realm. Instantly, he saw that there was a slight, or rather negligible, black aura on the bugs' bodies. Of course, this method of controlling bugs couldn't be compared to the bug controlling technique. It was a really low method. Chapter 149. Outside the room, Chen Xingyao was really anxious. What was going on? Who knew if they saw any problems? At that moment, Lin Fan and Zhou Zhongmao walked out of the room. Chen Xingyao asked right away, "How is it? Are there any leads?" What he was most concerned about was whether or not there were any leads. He was really annoyed by the commoners. He went to visit a prostitute and was caught on the spot. How was he going to live? Should he use a blade to chop those fellows to death? Or did they not want to live anymore? He was visiting a prostitute. What did they want to do? Haze. Chen Xingyao felt really bitter. He didn't even know what to say. He only felt that after His Royal Highness came to Jiang City, his trajectory had changed. Lin Fan smiled. Go back and prepare the money. We will solve this matter tonight. Chen Xingyao was delighted. It was obvious that he had found some leads. Okay, I will go back and prepare. I will pay for a month first. A month? You have to pay annually. If you don't agree, I will leave now and act like nothing happened. Lin Fan said. Damn, that was too much of a beast. For the first time, Chen Xingyao realized that people could be hated to such an extent. Rage points plus 88. He didn't pay monthly and had to pay annually. That was just too despicable. Okay, no problem. When he said that, he gritted his teeth. Who could understand the pain in his heart? He was in a rush to gather the rich merchants of Jiang City. It was impossible for him to fork out the money alone, so he had to get someone else to help him. The organization that Li Tsong mentioned was a good choice. He had a high chance of earning a huge sum. Of course, he knew that it wouldn't be easy to make those people fork out money. Unless the Een demons wiped out their entire race once more, then the merchants would be afraid. As for this bug-killing incident, only 3 commoners died. To the merchants, it was just a light rain, and it wasn't time for them to worry. That night, Jiang City was really quiet. The commoners went home early. Even those who sold snacks closed their stalls and didn't do business. The bug-killing incident caused many commoners to panic. The Een demons killed the rich merchants, and now the bugs were killing the commoners. How could they not be afraid? Cousin, how do we find it? Zhou Zhongmao asked. The streets were empty, and the doors of the shops were tightly shut. It was very deserted. If it wasn't for the fact that there were living people, one would have thought that this was a ghost town. Don't rush. Take your time. Lin Fan raised the bug-controlling technique to the returning to true realm. Under the support of the thick and endless internal strength, his senses could reach 1,000 meters. A gray aura, invisible to the naked eye, emanated from his body. That was the special internal strength of the bug-controlling technique. Feng Poliu probably didn't expect that Insect Valley's unbreakable secret, bug-controlling technique, will be learned by someone just like that. Moreover, he could casually raise it to the highest realm. This cultivation technique was very powerful. If one's inner force was strong enough, then the range of his senses would be even further. In Lin Fan's perception, the ants hiding under the bricks, the earthworms crawling in the mud, and even the insects flying in the air were all under his control. But these were not what he was looking for. Even though Zhang Xian didn't know what the black insect he saw earlier in the day was, it was clear that it wasn't an ordinary insect since it was able to break out of a human's body. Lin Fan moved slowly and swept through every single corner of Jiang City. He noticed it. Within a civilian house, a male laid on the bed in pain. There were bugs laying eggs in his body, affecting his body greatly. The gray special internal strength pounced over and killed all the bugs in his body. On the next day, the shit that he excreted should be called bug shit. It was made up of the corpses of bugs. As he continued to sense, he realized that there were many of these bugs in Jiang City. They were hidden really deep, and normal people could suck them into their bodies if they didn't pay attention. Moreover, many commoners had such bugs in their bodies. If he didn't clean them up tonight, more people would die tomorrow. More and more would die the day after. Maybe in just a short time, the entire city would die. Using the bug-controlling technique to sense the surroundings consumed a lot of internal strength. If it was a normal person, they would feel like their body was slowly being emptied. But Lin Fan didn't feel that way. Instead, he felt like there were no changes. Everything was normal. After leaving Yu City, he realized that to survive alone, to have a good life, one had to pay a lot. For example, now, the sky was dark. He should have slept long ago, but for money, he could only come out to work. He worked so hard to tell everyone that he, Lin Fan, came out from Yu City and could rely on his own hard work to live the life of a rich young master. In the distance, Yang Fei was found and was being chased by 3 guys. Yang Fei, hand over the thing and follow us back. The one-eyed male said fiercely, slashing towards Yang Fei's shoulder. Gang leader said that as long as she was alive, it was okay even if her limbs were chopped off. This was why he slashed at Yang Fei's limbs. However, Yang Fei dodged it cleverly. The 4 figures chased after her, exchanging blows with each other. However, to Yang Fei, she alone was no match for the 3 of them. The masked male didn't say anything. Internal strength gathered in his palm. This was green internal strength, like it contained a terrifying poison. His palm moved slightly, and a green tail appeared. Without hesitation, he slapped out, hitting Yang Fei's shoulder. With a kacha, her shoulder bones were dislocated, her clothes were corroded, and a palm mark was left. The snow-white skin on her shoulder had a green palm mark. Big brother, gang leader want her alive, the one-eyed male said. The masked male said, don't worry, she won't die. Yang Fei was strong, but facing the 3 of them, as long as they caught up, she could forget about running. So what if she hid in Jiang City and didn't come out? They could force her out. It was a small matter if some people died. The bugs were doing things, so it was easy for them to find her. Yang Fei had 9 bug gang's precious items and was supposed to be sent to Insect Valley. However, she stopped her. She was prepared to leave 9 bug gang. But who knew that such a problem would occur? She was discovered early. She could only leave early, but she was still chased. The uninhabited streets had become a place where the 4 of them fought. Yang Fei knew that if she continued to run, she wouldn't be able to escape. Why not give it a try? Maybe she would have a chance to live. Yang Fei, hand over the thing. The masked male said coldly. The 3 of them stood in a row, blocking off Yang Fei's path. Yang Fei was petite. Her looks weren't outstanding, but she had a special aura. Let's see whether or not you all have the ability. Just as the four of them were prepared to fight, a leisurely voice spread into their ears. Slowly searching, I finally found all of you. Lin Fan brought Zhou Zhongmao out from the darkness. He had already killed numerous bugs. Under the suppression of the bug-controlling techniques, special internal strength, these bugs couldn't fight back at all. To Zhou Zhongmao, he didn't know what cousin was doing. He just walked, and he actually found her. That was just too magical. Actually, how would he know that cousin didn't rely on luck, but on sweeping the area and finally confirming the location of the target? Lin Fan's appearance had the four of them bewildered. Kid, this has nothing to do with you. Scram to the side. The one-eyed male said fiercely. He felt like if he didn't listen to him, he would kill him. The Jiang City bugs killing people should be done by you all, right? Lin Fan sized up the four of them, 3 males and 1 female. They were enemies, having conflicts and fighting one another. Especially that girl. She should have been injured. However, what was with that gaze of yours? Why did it feel like you were thinking about something unfriendly? Kid, who are you? The masked male asked. To appear here in the middle of the night and not be afraid when he saw them. It was obvious that he was confident in himself. People who were confident, apart from fools, had some ability. The one-eyed male was impatient. Big brother, why ask so much? Just kill them. I'm asking you all, did you all do it? Why is it so difficult? Are you all sick in the head? Just answer my question. Lin Fan said. Rage points plus 333. Rage points plus 333. Rage points plus 444. Lin Fan's words infuriated the three of them. In a small city, there was actually someone who dared to say such words to them. Kiki, what magical species? Yang Fei looked at Lin Fan and then at Zhou Zhongmao. She felt like they didn't look like experts. However, at such a stage, she wouldn't let go of any chance. Maybe she could use the two of them as shields to fight for a chance to escape. The one-eyed male said viciously, Kid, are you sick in the head? Let me tell you, we did it. Even if you want to leave, you won't be able to. Very good. Lin Fan understood. It was good that he admitted it. He was just afraid that he had hit the wrong person. As a rich family young master, he didn't randomly hit people. Everything he said was logical. Young masters, please save me. They want to attack me. Yang Fei ran towards Lin Fan and Zhou Zhongmao. She wanted to run behind them and push them towards the three of them when they weren't paying attention. She would have a high chance of escaping then. Just as Yang Fei got close to Lin Fan punched her stomach. With a pung, Yang Fei's expression froze. Her body bent, and she spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. Her eyes were filled with shock. How did this happen? Lin Fan grabbed Yang Fei's hair and lifted her up. What poor acting skills. You aren't serious enough to act in front of me. He reached out and took out a box from her clothes. The things in the box gave him a bad feeling. He tossed Yang Fei to his cousin. Cousin grabbed her head and smashed it towards the ground. The green bricks cracked, and her entire head was buried deep into the ground. What poor acting skills. You want to lie to my cousin, and you have to ask whether or not I agree. Zhou Zhongmao said, Damn, if Yang Fei didn't faint, she would have exclaimed, How did I meet such a lunatic? Lin Fan was satisfied with cousin's improvement. To be able to see such poor acting skills was not bad. P.S. There are 2 more chapters I am writing. Chapter 150. When the 3 men from 9 Bug Gang saw such a random scene, they found it really weird. Damn, what was going on with the 2 of them? They thought about many possibilities. For example, they thought they were heroes, the 2 of them saving the beauty. In the end, Yang Fei used them, and they died while saving the beauty. But they didn't expect him to attack right away. He saw through it. Or was his goal the same as theirs? When they saw the box in Lin Fan's hand, the 3 of them had an idea. This was what they needed. Hand the box over. The masked male said fiercely. They chased Yang Fei for this box. Lin Fan looked at the 3 of them. Jiang City commoners spend 48,000 silver a year for my Marshall Path Mountain to protect them. You kill people here, that means you aren't giving Marshall Path Mountain face, so I have to teach you a lesson. Or rather, a painful lesson. Cousin. Pong. Cousin understood what cousin meant. He didn't say any nonsense and attacked right away. The one-eyed male couldn't take it anymore and charged over with his blade. However, to Zhou Zhongmao, he was still too weak. He was far from being on the same level as him. On the other hand, the masked male had some ability. Pong. Pong. Zhou Zhongmao grabbed his blade and clenched his fingers. Under his shocked gaze, the blade directly shattered. The broken blade floated in the air. You're still too weak. Instantly, cousin opened his fingers and slapped. Those broken blades were guided and stabbed into his body. They broke out of his body along with blood and flesh. How long? Fresh blood seeped from the corner of the one-eyed male's mouth. He looked at Zhou Zhongmao in shock and then slowly fell. He didn't expect that he would be instantly killed. Amazing, Lin Fan praised. Cousin's methods were not bad. Especially towards enemies, he was really vicious. Basically, he wouldn't leave anyone alive if he could kill them. However, that wasn't good. You should at least let your cousin accumulate some rage points. Cousin, come back, Lin Fan said. Zhou Zhongmao said, Cousin, there are 2 more. You don't need to do this, I will do it. Lin Fan said. If he let him do it, then he wouldn't have earned anything tonight. The masked male and the other male beside him had solemn expressions. They didn't underestimate the 2 of them anymore. This was an expert. Who are you? We are from 9 Bug Gang. We are on orders to take back our items. The masked male said. Although he was furious that one of his men had been killed, he also knew that the other party was very strong. Even if he continued to fight, it would only result in both sides suffering heavy losses. By right, for the sake of long-term rage, it was normal to let these 2 go. But for some reason, he only wanted to kill these 2 people or let his cousin kill these 2 people. Lin Fan threw the box to his cousin and walked a few steps forward. Don't say that I didn't give you a chance. I'll give you 3 seconds to be angry, otherwise you really won't have a chance. Rage points plus 4, 44 rage points plus 555, 1. 2. Rage points plus 555 rage points plus 666. Lin Fan waited and didn't count to 3. He didn't expect that the 2 of them wouldn't provide rage points either. Wasn't he angry enough? The half-masked man's face gradually darkened. It seemed that he would not be able to complete the mission if he did not decide the winner. He already knew that his opponent was an expert. If he didn't take out his strongest strength, that would be a dumb thing to do. It was normal that the distant Jiang City didn't know how terrifying 9 Bug Gang was. As members of 9 Bug Gang, naturally, they couldn't lose their reputation. Instantly, green veins popped up on the masked man's forehead. Then, a green mist spread out from his body. Kid, do you know that you will be eaten by bugs? Bugs are small, but sometimes you will never be able to imagine how terrifying they are. The masked man took out the mother bug by his waist and crushed it. The green liquid flowed into his palms. He then clasped his palms together and hollered. Pung pung. There were many small crawling sounds in the surrounding dark corners. Shortly after, a dense swarm of small bugs covered each other and attacked. The 2 of you offended a power that you can't afford to offend. No matter what the outcome is, you won't have a good ending. The masked man grinned. His smile was really dark and sunken. Feel the despair of being bitten by bugs. A dense cluster of bugs covered the entire street and then struck towards Lin Fan and Zhou Zhongmao. On the contrary, the masked man's face was ashen white. This was a sign that he had used up too much energy. Cousin, be careful. Zhou Zhongmao wanted to block in front of cousin, but Lin Fan stopped him. It is okay, don't be nervous. Lin Fan was really calm and didn't panic at all. He stood there. The special internal strength of the bug controlling technique slowly spread out and instantly covered all the bugs. Pooh! The masked man spat out a mouthful of fresh blood. He felt that his connection with the bugs was cut off. How did this happen? Lin Fan used the bug controlling technique to control the ants to steal grain. He felt that this was a good creative method. Now there were so many bugs here. He had never tried it before. He instantly controlled all the bugs here. With just a thought, he could order them to do anything. It was also really easy. He wasn't as weak as the masked man. He just played with a few bugs, and he was sweating profusely. How did this happen? The masked man panted heavily. He tried his best to control the bugs, but there was no movement at all. Suddenly, a shocking sentence spread into his ears. "Do you have the awareness that you will be eaten by bugs?" Lin Fan said. "Damn!" The masked man was furious. "Why did you copy my words? I was the one who said those words." Just at that moment, the bugs gathered together and formed an 8-meter-tall human-shaped bug. The mouth of the human-shaped bug was formed from numerous bugs. How was that possible? When the masked man saw this, his eyes went blind. That was impossible. How could he control bugs? Impossible. Definitely impossible. The masked man panicked and didn't dare to believe it. The 8-meter-tall, human-shaped bug got close to the masked man. Its mouth was made up of bugs, like it had no bones at all. It moved like waves. Lin Fan was waiting. Provide me with some rage points. Unfortunately, he didn't have any at all. How disappointing. Was it because he was scared silly by what he thought was impossible that his anger would completely disappear and be replaced by that kind of disbelief forever? Since that was the case, why waste time? The human-shaped bug slowly got close to the masked man like it was filled with disdain. It slowly raised its head. At that moment, it opened its mouth and swallowed the masked man. Save me. The other guy was so terrified that he peed his pants. How did such a terrifying thing appear in Jiang City? He couldn't run. He didn't run far before the human-shaped bug slapped him into meat paste. It is over. Lin Fan felt a little regretful. He didn't want to deal with the two of them so quickly. Instead, he wanted to have a good chat with them for rage points. However, he was disappointed. People who were terrified weren't worth mentioning at all. What was the 9-bug gang that he mentioned? It seemed to be related to bug controlling techniques Insect Valley. Even his father didn't want to offend Insect Valley, but he killed 3 people who might be related to them. Was that a good idea? Forget it. Anyway, no one saw it. Why was he thinking so much? "Cousin, let's go," Lin Fan said. The mastermind of the Jiang City bugs was killed, and Jiang City was safe once more. "Oh," Zhou Zhongmao replied. He walked in front of Yang Fei. She wasn't dead yet. With a smacking sound, he twisted her neck. His expression didn't change at all. It was like he was doing something really normal. To Zhou Zhongmao, this was to cut off all future problems, to not leave any problems for his cousin. Zhou Zhongmao might look dumb, but he was really wary of some things. Returning to Marshall Path Mountain, Lin Fan looked at the box in his hand. He got it from that woman. Those few people wanted to get back the thing in the box. He opened the box. Inside laid something that looked like an amber. He placed it in front of the light and looked at it carefully. There seemed to be something in the amber. It was small, but it was really clear. It was a bug with 9 heads. If one didn't look closely, one would think that the bug with 9 heads was dead. But if one looked closely, one would notice that the heart of the bug was beating slowly. The frequency was really slow. A living thing. To others, it was an important thing. To Lin Fan, it was just a mysterious thing. He pinched the amber with 2 fingers and slowly used strength. The amber didn't change at all. He slowly increased his strength. He couldn't even shatter such a small thing. That was really disappointing. Gotcha! The amber broke, and the bug inside landed on the table. Lin Fan opened his eyes wide and looked closely. He touched it with his fingers. What was this bug? It looked weird, but it was so small that it scared him. Maybe it was too weak. He could see the small bones and meridians in the bug's body. He had an idea. Lin Fan spread out the special internal strength of the bug controlling technique and wrapped it up. As expected, there was movement. The bug seemed to need this internal strength and was actually swallowing. However, it didn't take long before it stopped swallowing as if it was full. That made sense. It was so small, so how much could it swallow? He looked for a while and didn't see anything worth being curious about. He placed the bug back into the box and closed it. The moment he closed the box, the bug woke up. The moment it stood up, it was smashed by the lid and fainted within. The next day, the first thing the commoners did when they woke up was to see whether or not the people around them died, or to ask whether or not anyone died in the city. When they learned that no one died, they were so excited that they wanted to cry. On the streets where the battle happened last night, The commoners looked at the scenes in front of them with their mouths agape. The entire ground was covered in dead bugs. What the hell was going on? Where did so many dead insects come from? Could it be that those harmful insects were all killed? They didn't know what happened last night. But something huge definitely happened. If not, why would there be so many dead bug corpses? Cheers! They cheered excitedly. Chapter 151. Chun Manor. Chun Shengyao slept at home and didn't go anywhere. He was too lazy to head out. He really couldn't take it. The moment he went out, he would be surrounded by commoners. You made it sound like he was a good person. He really didn't understand. Whether or not he was a good person, didn't they know? Or are you saying that when this young master bullied people in the past, you all became blind and didn't see it? Who knew how long passed? It was really noisy outside, like there were drums and gongs being beaten. Was there an end to it? Chun Shengyao couldn't take it anymore. He was afraid of them. He wouldn't head out. They actually came to disturb him. He was really impressed. Come. Chun Shengyao pulled out his blade, kicking open the door and dashing out. Damn, he was going to fight it out with all of you bastards. In the past, only he bullied others. No one could bully him. Young master. When Li Tsong saw a young master walk out with a blade, he was shocked. What was going on? Who was young master going to kill with a blade? Chun Shengyao didn't bother about Li Tsong and just charged out in rage. Prince Xiaoqi, you con me so badly. If I don't kill one or two today, my pride would be trampled by a bunch of commoners. However, when Chun Shengyao came outside, the situation outside was a little off. The commoners were dancing lions and celebrating. When they saw Chun Shengyao come out, they cheered. Young Master Chun is out. Young Master Chun, the commoners shouted. The gongs and gongs were beating continuously. It was obvious that they were celebrating something. Very quickly, Chun Shengyao was surrounded by the commoners. Young Master Chun, good job. The bugs are gone. They really are gone. No one died in Jiang City today, but many bugs died on the streets. Young Master Chun, you are so amazing. The praises were endless. Chun Shengyao was stunned and felt that things were different from what he had expected. The key point was that no one died in the morning. The bugs were dealt with. Chun Shengyao couldn't react to the current situation. He was the overlord of Jiang City. He had killed people, beat people up, and done many weird things. But this was the first time in history. At that moment, a little girl walked in front of Chun Shengyao. As she was too short, she couldn't reach him. She pulled his sleeves and looked at him cutely. The people around them quieted down. Chun Shengyao lowered his head and looked at the little kid. Whose family was he from? He looked pretty good. After 7 or 8 years, he would be able to be his concubine. What does that mean? Why are you staring at me like that? Does he want to squat down? Chun Shengyao squatted down. He wanted to see what this little girl wanted to do. Could it be that she dared to be presumptuous towards him, the little overlord of Jiangsheng? The little lowly seemed a little shy, but she still plucked up her courage and kissed Chun Shengyao's cheek. You are a great hero. I like great heroes. Papa. The commoners applauded and began to beat gongs and drums in celebration. Chun Shengyao was a little confused. I'm the hero? Oh my God. No one had ever said that to him before. How am I a hero? I've killed people, I've beaten people, I've done all kinds of bad things. When I'm unhappy, I'll take your life. Now, there's a little girl saying that I'm a great hero? Chun Shengyao stood there in a daze, not knowing what to do. Could he say that this was actually a misunderstanding? He really wasn't a hero. Actually, I am Jiang City's little overlord, a bad guy who has done all sorts of bad things. Manager Yu stood not far away and listened. His young master was actually called a hero. Old master, did you hear that? Our Chun family is cleaned up. We will start from young master. He is actually loved by the people. Old master, open the coffin and take a look. If such a violent person like young master can be called a hero, then someone like you who hides a knife in your smile will definitely be called a saint. Guys, please listen to me. Manager Yu waved his hands and shouted at the top of his lungs. The commoners quietened down and looked at Manager Yu quietly. My young master cares about the safety of Jiang City, so he didn't sleep last night to help all of you solve the bug problem. Did all of you see that my young master hasn't even put down his blade? Another manager hollered. Chun Shengyao nodded his head. He raised the blade in his hand and waved it. What welcomed him was a round of praises from the commoners. Wait. Chen Xingyao felt that something wasn't right. Since you said that, then how was he supposed to tell the commoners about the Marshall Path Mountain Protection Guild? It was okay that he was conned by the prince once, but now even his own manager wanted to do the same to him. That was just too much. But with the current situation, even if he felt bitter, he had to face it with a smile. Let's disperse. I'm too tired today, so I need a rest. Chen Shengyao said. Some commoners led the way to leave. They wanted to keep quiet and let young master rest. Very quickly, Chen Shengyao returned to the manor. I just want to ask why you said that. Do you know that if you say that, then I will have to fork out the money myself? Manager Yu was stunned. Young master's words made sense, but he definitely couldn't admit it. Young master, listen to my analysis. How do you feel today? Did you notice that the commoners love Chen family? Manager Yu asked. Chen Shengyao nodded his head. That was indeed the case. No matter what, he was still the overlord of Jiang City. However, after today, he had to restrain himself. However, no matter what, he was still the overlord of Jiang City. Manager Yu said, after this matter, it will be of great help to the Chun family in the future. Apart from a wolf brigade that was wiped out by Old Master, the rest are for the commoners. Now that this has happened, the commoners will definitely buy things from the Chun family. This is a huge blow to the other merchants. And that makes sense. Chen Shengyao nodded his head in agreement. However, when he thought about the 48,000 silver, his heart hurt a little. Send 48,000 silver to Marshall Path Mountain. Chen Shengyao told Manager Yu to send the money over. He had to find those merchants. No matter what, he had to let them acknowledge it. He couldn't let him shoulder it alone, right? He understood that the bird that poked its head out would be shot. If one couldn't sit still, then he would be the one to suffer. It was like a gathering for a meal. In the end, the entire place was silent, waiting for someone to get up and pay the bill before it ended. Marshall Path Mountain, Lin Fan and the others were eating. Cousin, eat more. If you eat so little, you won't grow fat. Lin Fan said. Understood, cousin. Zhou Mao carried the wooden bucket and gulped it into his mouth. Zhang Tianshan and the others were envious when they saw that. Every day, from morning onwards, they would eat so much that they would drool. Sect Leader Lin, my young master sent this over. Manager Yu walked in and passed the bills to Lin Fan. Damn! Zhang Tianshan didn't notice at the start, but when he saw what it was, an eye-catching glow exploded in his eyes. Bills. A thick stack of bills. Not bad. Lin Fan kept the bills and continued to eat. Manager Yu sent the money over and silently retreated. Chen family and Marshall Path Mountain's relationship wasn't as good as he thought. They just worked together and took what they needed. Zhang Tianshan asked, Sect Leader, this is? Nothing, let's eat. Lin Fan waved his hands calmly. Why did he ask so much? Apart from money, what else could it be? He was able to live so comfortably now because he bought it with money. Zhang Tianshan couldn't eat at ease. So much money flashed in front of his eyes. So how could he eat? He estimated that there were at least tens of thousands of silver. That was Chun family's manager Yu. Why would he send money over? What is this thing? Pa! At that moment, Liang Yongqi exclaimed and smacked the table. He was eating well, and suddenly a small thing ran onto the table. He thought that it was a spider, so he couldn't help but smack it. Wait. Lin Fan picked up the bug that Liang Yongqi smacked. Wasn't this the thing he brought back last night? Wasn't it placed in a box? How did it come out? This. What is this? Liang Yongqi asked in fear. Since he was frightened by the Yin demons, he was much more timid. Nothing, just a normal bug. Lin Fan picked it up and shook it a few times to see whether or not it was still breathing. He didn't want it to die from one slap. That would be too useless. Zhang Tianshan stared at the nine-headed bug, and his expression turned solemn. He then said, Sect Leader, this bug is useless. Why don't we throw it away? It is okay. This is the first time I have seen a nine-headed bug. It is worth studying. Lin Fan was really interested in the nine-headed bug. He had grown so much in his life, but he had never seen such a bug before. Moreover, this nine-headed bug was really firm. After Liang Yongqi smacked it, it didn't explode. Its small body contained huge strength. The nine-headed bug laid on the table and didn't move at all. Zhang Tianshan had something to say to Lin Fan, but the current situation wasn't suitable. Breakfast ended. Kid, let me ask you solemnly, did you meet people from Insect Valley? Zhang Tianshan pulled Lin Fan to the side and asked. Lin Fan wanted to say that he had to call him sect leader, but looking at Zhang Tianshan's solemn expression, he knew that he was serious. I didn't meet Insect Valley, so they called themselves Nine Bug Gang. Zhang Tianshan thought about it and was stunned. This is a gang within Insect Valley's territory. So why did they come to Jiang City? Did you have any dealings with them? I just killed them, Lin Fan said. Zhang Tianshan was stunned. He was actually speechless and didn't know what to say. He pulled Lin Fan and said solemnly, remember, don't tell anyone about this. Although Insect Valley has closed, the power within their territory is still strong. If you are targeted, there will be a bloodbath. I suggest we wipe out that bug. Don't let it live. Even if we keep it, we can't expose it before we are strong enough. Zhang Tianshan didn't want Lin Fan to have anything to do with Insect Valley, at least not now. Lin Fan patted Zhang Tianshan's shoulder. You are so solemn, I am not used to it. Don't worry, I know what I'm doing. He definitely knew what he was doing. Although his bug controlling technique was weak and couldn't compare to the bug controlling technique, at least that meant that it had something to do with Insect Valley. When he was in U City, his father found out that he was cultivating the bug controlling technique, so he destroyed the internal strength he used to cultivate it. That was enough to show that Insect Valley couldn't be underestimated. But his father was his father. Zhang Tianshan was Zhang Tianshan. He represented himself. What they couldn't do in the past didn't mean that he couldn't. Chapter 152. Zhang Tianshan dissed in his heart. What did he know? He just hoped that he wouldn't be noticed so quickly. Why would people from Nine Bug Gang appear in Jiang City? Were they sick in the head? They could go anywhere, but they had to come to Jiang City. Courtyard. Lin Fan felt that life was a form of comprehension, a form of enjoyment. What he lacked in the last life, he would have in this life. His assets had reached 200,000, close to 300,000 silver. This was a huge sum. No matter where he went, he would be able to live comfortably. Not many people knew about this money, especially Zhang Tianshan and the others. He definitely wouldn't let them know. The nine-headed bug, who fainted on the table, shook its head and slowly woke up. Its head hurt like someone had struck it. However, that wasn't a problem. He had to find Master. The nine-headed bug landed on the ground with 2 limbs and 3 claws on the sides of its stomach. Its 9 heads stretched out as it walked to the edge of the table. Its 18 eyes looked at the ground. It was a little high. Who cared? The 9-headed bug jumped off from the table and fell from the sky. A whistling wind blew past his ears. Pah! Its head fell to the ground and it directly fainted. Tragic. After a long while, the 9-headed bug shook its head and woke up once more. It then ran towards the door with its short legs. It sensed that Master's aura was really close to it. Brother Liang, wait. I have something to tell you. Yuan Tianshu saw Liang Yongqi being busy at Martial Path Mountain and felt like he should remind him. If he said too much, it would be too obvious. However, he had a responsibility to care for people who weren't smart enough. Pah! Yuan Tianshu didn't see the little thing running on the ground and stepped on it. He didn't care and walked beside Liang Yongqi. Follow me. The 9-headed bug rolled its eyes and fainted once more. It was too small, so small that it couldn't be ignored. What? Liang Yongqi asked. Yuan Tianshu thought about it and said, Do you know that you have fallen into someone's trap? Liang Yongqi blinked. What did he mean? He really didn't understand what he was saying. Looking at Liang Yongqi's expression, one could see that he didn't sense the problem at all. What would be marked by the company one kept? If he could understand, then he wouldn't be Liang Yongqi and wouldn't be the abandoned kid chased out of the family. IQ decides everything. Yuan Tianshu felt that he was smart enough to fight Lin Fan and Zhang Tianshan and not be at a disadvantage. Recently, you've been really close to Zhang Tianshan. I think you shouldn't be fooled. He isn't a simple person. He predicted that you would face danger when you left Marshall Path Mountain. He wanted to save you when you were in danger so that you would be grateful and follow him wholeheartedly. I suggest that you stay with me and don't ask too many questions. Otherwise, it will be difficult for you to escape in the future. Yuan Tianchu said it as if it was true. TSK crazy. Liang Yongji glanced at him. Brother Yuan, let me tell you, you're really thinking too much. Moreover, I feel like you're going to hallucinate soon. If you can't take it, you should take a good rest. I left Marshall Path Mountain on my own. Deputy Sect Leader Zhang came to save me, but I didn't see you. Do you see what this is? Deputy Sect Leader Zhang said that my performance was not bad, so he gave me a profound martial arts secret manual. I still have to go back and study it, so I can't talk to you anymore. Liang Yongji left without looking back. To him, Yuan Tianchu's illness wasn't light. He slowly accepted Zhang Tianshan. During this period of time, he felt that this person was decent and treated him well. He felt like he was being cared for by a father. I'm telling the truth, Yuan Tianchu shouted. However, Liang Yongji didn't listen and walked into the distance. Kiki, Yuan Tianchu shook his head helplessly. It was just too difficult to communicate with people who weren't smart. In this power struggle for the position of the sect leader, he was just a spectator. He wanted to see who would have the last laugh. You Lin Fan. Or you, Zhang Tianshan. In the courtyard, Lin Fan felt his hands itch. He opened his eyes and noticed the 9-headed bug lying on the back of his hand. Its 9 heads rubbed against the back of his hand. If he didn't notice, if he treated it like a fly, he would slap it and it would really die. Lin Fan picked up the 9-headed bug. You little bug, you are a little bold. The 9-headed bug woke up and was really intimate with him. This was the treasure that the 4 of them fought for. His brain had problems. He really didn't see anything special about the bug. Refresh. He gathered the special internal strength of the bug controlling technique at his fingertips to see what was going on with the bug. Instantly, he noticed that the 9-headed bug's 9 heads opened their mouths and sucked. A weak suction force spread out from the 9 heads. The special internal strength of the bug controlling technique flew uncontrollably towards the 9-headed bug's mouth. Amazing. Lin Fan wanted to play around. Gozi was a little nervous. Why was there such a weird bug? He had raised the bug controlling technique to the highest realm, and the quality of his internal strength was really high. Not long later, the suction force disappeared. The 9-headed bug seemed like it was full and burped. It ended just like that. The duration was just too short. After the 9-headed bug was full, it laid on the back of Lin Fan's hand and rubbed against it like it was really happy. Gozi, our Marshall Path Mountain is going to have a new member. Go make a fence on that empty land. Don't be too big and build a nest. Lin Fan said. Zhang Tianshan didn't want to keep the 9-headed bug. This meant that the 9-headed bug was amazing. Any mysterious thing could make him curious. Before he understood the 9-headed bug, he wouldn't abandon it. Yes, young master. Gozi immediately went to work. The 9-headed bug seemed to understand Lin Fan's words, jumping happily on the back of Lin Fan's hand. When night was about to fall, the happy 9-headed bug was unable to maintain its happiness. It even panicked a little. In the future, this will be your nest. Stay here. I will raise you until you are white and fat. Lin Fan placed the 9-headed bug down. This nest was made well. It was made of wood, and there was a small room inside. The room was covered in a comfortable cushion. The bowls for drinking water and eating food were all there. Looking at the design, it looked like he was raising a dog. The 9-headed bug's small body stood inside like it was stunned. It didn't expect that it would receive such treatment. Perfect, really perfect. Go back to sleep. Lin Fan felt that Marshall Path Mountain was developing in the direction that he wanted it to be. Money was flowing in, the environment was comfortable, and he had a pet to look after the house. Zhang Tianshan looked at the 9-headed bug. He knew that a treasure that 9 bug gang had high hopes for was extraordinary, but he didn't expect that kid to treat it so casually. He wanted to tell the bug that it followed the wrong person. That night, in the dark forest of Wolf Brigade, numerous demons surged out. One of them was covered in muscles, and it was 3 meters tall. It carried a stone steel and led the demon army towards Marshall Path Mountain. A dark aura covered the night sky. Beneath Marshall Path Mountain, many pairs of red eyes stared at Marshall Path Mountain. The light on the mountain made them hate it. Numerous demons climbed and roared out. Terrifying roars spread out in the air, gathering together to form a terrifying sound. They came to find Marshall Path Mountain. They were furious. Demons were furious too. However, they didn't know who was the one who insulted them. Anyway, they couldn't swallow this anger. Move aside. The new big demon's voice was low and hoarse. He raised the stone steel on his shoulder and smashed it towards Marshall Path Mountain. He then hollered in rage, "Human, we demons won't let this matter rest." His voice was really loud. Only demons ate humans, so no humans could bully them. However, the situation changed. There were really humans who came to bully them. Could they take it? They could, but they couldn't. The big demon roared crazily towards Marshall Path Mountain. His roar was really loud, forming a white energy wave. It was like a shock wave exploded out from his mouth. It was shocking and gave off a strong aura. The big demon didn't shut up. He wanted to use his roar to pierce through Marshall Path Mountain and blow it up. However, he knew that it was just a dream. His voice wasn't that strong. If it was, then he wouldn't just be the big demon, but the king of the demons. When the surrounding demons saw how domineering the big demon was, they worshipped him. This was the image of the big demon in their hearts. He didn't fear anything. He dared to use his roar to shock everyone. It was enough for them to call him Big Brother. The next day, Go-Z carried the washing tools in and helped young master get up. Go-Z, did you hear dogs barking for a long time last night? Lin Fan asked. Did I? Go-Z was curious. He didn't hear it last night. It should be. Last night, Lin Fan slept very soundly, and he vaguely heard some sounds. However, he wasn't too sure. Anyway, it didn't affect his sleep, so he didn't ask. Suddenly, Zhang Tianshan walked in. His expression was solemn. Sect leader, take a look. Last night, a stone steel appeared on Marshall Path Mountain. Stone steel? Outside. Lin Fan looked at the stone steel in front of him. The words on it were really exquisite and extraordinary. If one didn't look closely, one wouldn't be able to recognize what was written. Truthfully, he really didn't understand it. Zhang Tianshan looked carefully and muttered, Dog. Humans, demons aren't something we can deal with. No, you all can deal with them. Tonight, we will meet at XX. Oh, I understand. The demons want to meet you. However, I really can't recognize the location. It was really tough for Zhang Tianshan to recognize the demon's words. Crazy, not sleeping at night, to fight them one-on-one. Are they sick in the head? If they are sick, then let them play. I am too lazy to bother. Lin Fan didn't want to bother with these demons. It was like their brains weren't developed. How old were they to fight one-on-one? Moreover, it was at night. If they had the ability, then do it in the day, when the sun shone high in the sky and one was full of energy. Moreover, they were just uncultured. One couldn't even recognize their words. So how was he going to find them? Go-Z, is breakfast ready? Open the pot and make some porridge for that bug. Don't let it starve. It wasn't easy for Lin Fan to think about those 9 bugs. After all, they were just too small. They could be ignored. Chapter 153. 9 Bug Gang headquarters was in Fuzhou. They were really strong and controlled the entire Fuzhou. On the surging river surface, an incomparably huge iron wheel floated on the surface of the river. That was the headquarters of 9 Bug Gang. What connected the ship to the shore was a thick iron chain, enough for 4 to 5 people to walk side by side on it. At this moment on the ship, Head, spare me, Head, spare me. My father and you are sworn brothers. Let me off. A teen was grabbed by the neck and hung on the river surface. His legs kicked about and his head was covered in sweat. His pants were wet and he was so frightened that he peed his pants. Nephew, it's not that I don't want to give you a way out. If you come and join me, I will arrange the best and most comfortable position for you. But you lost the sex treasure. I can't protect you. Don't hate me, just go. The man opened his fingers. The young man fell into the river. Then he splashed about in the water and cried for help. Suddenly, many black dots appeared on the river surface. These black dots were really dense. Looking closely, they were all bugs that could live in the water. Ah! Screams spread out. However, the screams were too short. The teen was instantly covered by bugs. Large amounts of bugs surged into his body from his mouth and nose. In the blink of an eye, only a white skeleton floated on the river surface. The man stood with his arms behind his back. His face was cold, and his eyes were covered in a layer of frost. He looked at the few people kneeling on the ground and said, "The mother bug is dead. It is near Jiang City. Head out now and bring back the gang item. Don't disappoint me." "Yes, head." The few people who knelt were hidden in black robes. Voila! The bodies of the few black-robed men seemed to be made of bugs as they fled into the distance. The head stood with his arms behind his back and looked at the river surface. His eyes were filled with rage. "Yang Fei, I didn't expect you to hide so deeply and lie to everyone. If I capture you, I will let you know what true terror is." "Sorry, the woman you wanted to capture was already dead. Her neck was broken by sect leader Lin's cousin, Zhou Mao." In the distance, a messenger pigeon flew over. Head Su raised his hand and grabbed it. He opened the letter, and when he saw the contents, he frowned. He hurriedly left to discuss with the gang leader. It was a troubled time. That night, Wolf Brigade's dark forest. The Een demons protected the big Een demon and walked out. "Tonight, I will fight that human alone to protect the honor of the Een demons." The big Een demon hollered. The little Een demons around replied. Translation: "Good job. We will support you forever." Despicable human. Only by tearing him apart can we dispel the hatred in our hearts. I can't wait to see how that human will face the tragic end he's about to encounter. My blood is boiling, my desire is surging. Een demons ate people, but they had emotions too. The big Een demon was protected by the small Een demons, walking at the front with his head held high. His strong body was his true strength. Tonight, he was going to rely on his iron fists to rip that human into many pieces. They look like this now, like Chun Haonan bringing a bunch of brothers to kill people. The big Een demon was like Chun Haonan. Before he killed people, he would dig out his earwax or play with a lighter. Even if there was no war, he had to raise his aura to the extreme before the battle began. Very soon, the Een demons came to the battle location. It was really close to their main camp and wasn't too far away. If there were problems, they would be able to support in time. Tonight, I will use my hands to rip him apart, to use his flesh and blood to raise the honor of my race. The big Een demon said passionately. The small Een demons roared. They were all excited too. Time passed slowly. The big Een demon stood in the cold wind like a statue. His red eyes looked into the distance. He could only win tonight and couldn't lose. He looked behind him. There were numerous small Een demons looking on. He definitely couldn't disappoint them. After a long while, the area was really silent. There was no movement at all. There wasn't even a single person. The big Een demon frowned. The stone steel wrote it clearly. Why wasn't he here yet? Some small Een demons were restless. They were impatient from waiting. The big Een demon told them to be quiet. There was still a long time. There was no need to rush. A true battle needed time to brew. When it was brewed to the peak, the battle would be triggered. That would be the true peak. The small Een demon stood behind the big Een demon. They didn't move and didn't roar. The prestige of the Een demons couldn't be offended. They waited in an orderly manner, to show the most domineering side to those small humans, to see how strong we Een demons were. After a long while, "Where is he?" The big Een demon was anxious. How could humans have no sense of time? For this battle, he prepared for an entire day. The small Een demons looked on. The group was restless. Why wasn't the human here yet? In U City, they were hurt by humans. They tore the contract, one person suppressing their entire race. That was a huge humiliation, an unbearable humiliation. After coming here, they faced humans who dared to provoke them once more. How could they take it? Did they really think that they were soft persimmons that anyone could bully? Dream on. It was a complete dream. After a long while, the sky was about to turn bright. The Een demons were restless. Where was the human? Where was he? Why didn't he appear? Did he look down on them? Looking at the color that day, it was about to turn white. People of the same race, we Een demons didn't retreat today. That human is so cowardly and doesn't dare to appear. The human is afraid to fight. In this battle, we Een demons have obtained a complete victory. The big Een demon turned around and shouted, announcing this exciting news. Carry the stone steel over. I want to give it to the human before the sun appears to tell them how strong we Een demons are. The big Een demon shouted. Very quickly, a small Een demon carried the stone steel over. The words on it were simple, and one could recognize it right away. Weakling. The big Een demon carried it. Go back and wait for me to return. Under the welcome of the small Een demons, the big Een demon turned into a black mist that wrapped the stone steel and struck towards Marshall Path Mountain. They waited here for a night, but the human didn't arrive. The big Een demon was right. The human was afraid to fight. He was afraid of Een demons and knew how terrifying they were. Marshall Path Mountain. The big Een demon saw that it wasn't early. He placed the stone steel down and could leave. Just as he raised his hands and was prepared to toss it towards Marshall Path Mountain, a voice spread into the big Een demon's ears. You are. Zhou Zhongmao sat cross-legged on a giant stone at the foot of the mountain. He didn't move at all and entered a meditative state. When he saw the big Een demon, he was slightly shocked, like he noticed something new. Last night, he cultivated and meditated here. His naked body was covered in dew, and his muscles shone brightly. Zhou Zhongmao jumped off from the giant stone and slowly walked in front of the stunned big Een demon. He raised his hand and slowly grabbed towards the big Een demon. In the big Een demon's eyes, that hand slowly got close. Pa! Darkness descended. The small Een demons hid in the forest and looked around, waiting for the hero of the Een demons to return. However, after a long time, their big Een demons still didn't return. The big Een demons' actions convinced many small Een demons. Only the truly strong Een demons dared to challenge everything. That big Een demon was the hero in their hearts. The sky was bright. Lin Fan had just woken up. Go Zi carried washing tools as usual. Young master, breakfast is prepared. Go Zi said. Lin Fan nodded his head. Such days were really comfortable. For some reason, it was even more comfortable than in U City. He wanted to write a letter to his father, to tell him not to worry. His son was having a good time on Marshall Path Mountain. When he wanted him to return, just let him know. After washing up, he went to eat breakfast. There were basically no changes every day. Lin Fan and his cousin's food was really rich. Zhang Tianshan and the others' food was the same as usual. There were no changes at all. Cousin, I met this fellow at the foot of the mountain in the morning. Zhou Zhongmao grabbed a stone steel. His other hand grabbed the Een demon's ankle, directly dragging him on the ground. The big Een demon was in a bad state, his face swollen from being beaten up. He thought that this silly human would be delicious, but who knew that what welcomed him was a beating? When Lin Fan saw this Een demon, he was slightly shocked. He didn't expect that there would actually be Een demons coming to Marshall Path Mountain. He got up and walked in front of the Een demon. Another big Een demon. One could tell from its size. The stone steel of the side was more obvious. The words weakling were really eye-catching. Yesterday, this Een demon sent the stone steel over. He didn't go last night because he thought that I lost? That's why you sent a stone tablet to mock me. Interesting. It's fine if you're giving me a stone tablet, but you actually sent yourself over. You're too polite. Lin Fan wanted to laugh. This big Een demon was really unlucky to meet my cousin. Could he even live? Under the sunlight, Een demons were extremely weak. Maybe a little more powerful than a weak, sickly adult. Rage points plus 333. The big Een demon looked at the human who spoke through his swollen eyelids. He was insulting the noble Een demon. However, he didn't have much strength now. Let's eat first. I will leave this Een demon here. After we eat, we can play with it. Lin Fan said. He wasn't interested in a big Een demon. At most, he could provide a few thousand rage points. Maybe he didn't find the best way. It was best if he didn't kill it. As long as he was here, the threat of the Een demons to him was pretty much zero. I cultivated last night, and I'm a little hungry. Zhou Mao released the big Een demon and tossed the stone steel outside. He picked up the wooden bucket that cousin prepared for him and gulped it down. The big Een demon laid on the ground. The eye-piercing sunlight made him unable to open his eyes. His body that was filled with power actually didn't have much strength left. That damn glow. How could he do that? The people of the same race were waiting for him to report back. Zhang Tianshan was a little confused. In the past, everyone said that Een demons were terrifying beings. However, he felt that it wasn't the case. Kid Lin was a little sick in the head. He actually liked to study Een demons. What was he thinking? Een demon? How sad. Chapter 154. Human, you can kill me, but you can't humiliate me. The big Een demon was tied to the cross and felt really wronged and humiliated. How could a 3-meter-tall Een demon man suffer such humiliation? But there was no other way. He really couldn't resist. The cross was easy to make. Cousin directly plucked 2 trees and pieced them together. It was perfect, and there was no problem tying the Een demon on it. Lin Fan was lying on a chair, holding a teacup, and drinking tea leaves that cost 20 taels a gram. This was already a top-notch tea. Using the price in his previous life, it would be more than 20,000 renminbi per gram. It smells good. Zhang Tianshan and the others were filled with hatred towards such an evil life as a landowner. They were furious. How could he live such a luxurious and corrupt life? Kiki, I didn't expect a big Een demon like you to be so literate. You even know that one can be killed but not humiliated. Luckily, I don't kill people. I just like to humiliate you. Lin Fan smiled. Rage points plus 444. The great Een demon was furious. He felt that these humans were really despicable. No wonder they became their food. Such a despicable race. What else could they be other than food? Doggy, use more strength on my shoulder. Lin Fan patted his shoulder and then said comfortably, a few days ago, there was a big Een demon. I let him go. Did you see him? It would have been better if he hadn't mentioned it. The moment he said that, the big Een demon's body shuddered. Just what kind of terrifying scene did he experience to become like that? The scene of that day was still vivid in his mind. The big Een demon who was covered in injuries was carried back. Even when he died, he was still muttering, "Don't get caught by Marshall Path Mountain." Suicide. He had to kill himself. At this moment, he was a little nervous. Death wasn't scary, but tearing off the pride of the Een demons was something truly terrifying. Lin Fan looked at the big Een demon, and a mysterious smile appeared on his face. That smile made the big Een demon shiver. Rage points plus 555. Lin Fan closed his eyes and enjoyed Go Z's service. He hummed a song. Although he didn't know what song he was humming, it had to have a certain style. He didn't bother about the big Een demon. Sometimes, silence was the greatest fear. Zhang Tianshan wasn't interested in the Een demons. He was confident in his own ability. What he was most concerned about was the 9-headed bug. At this time, in the kennel, the 9-headed bug stood in front of the food bowl, its 9 heads spinning like a windmill, constantly stirring the food into the bowl. Many grains of rice and meat flew out, scattering all over the ground. But to the 9-headed bug, it was really satisfying. Sect leader, what did you feed this little thing? Zhang Tianshan asked. Lin Fan didn't say anything and let Go Z reply. Go Z said, he ate pork egg porridge and some of the bird's nest and shark fin that young master ate. Zhang Tianshan raised his head and looked at Lin Fan before lowering his head to look at the 9-headed bug who was happily eating. He silently retreated to the side. He didn't really want to talk. This was terrible. Are you even humans? Do you even treat us as humans? It was even worse than a bug that could be trampled to death at any time. Tell me about it. What does he take us for? Deputy Sect Leader Zhang, don't be sad. Liang Yongqi felt bitter in his heart. At the same time, he understood why Zhang Tianshan was so sad. Zhang Tianshan sighed and shook his head. It feels bad. Yuan Tianchu calmly watched this scene. He finally couldn't take it anymore and wanted to attack. He didn't expect his first move to be so vicious. One had to say that this surnamed Lin person was really amazing. Be it methods or schemes, normal people couldn't fight against him. He didn't expect that surnamed Lin person to attack from breakfast, using the unfairness of breakfast to destroy Zhang Tianshan's heart. At the same time, he clearly told him that they were eating worse than a weak bug. This showed one problem. That is, you are not even as useful as insects. However, to him, Zhang Tianshan probably wouldn't leave. Although this plan was vicious, Zhang Tianshan would be able to see through it right away. He even knew what Lin Fan was planning. Amazing. Really amazing. When experts clashed, each move was lethal. At that moment, the Big Demon was left there to dry by Lin Fan. To the Big Demon, this didn't feel good. What do you want to do by tying him up here? Sect leader Lin. At that moment, Huang Boren walked over from afar. When he saw the monster tied to the cross, he was shocked. What was that? It was a little terrifying. Brother Huang, why do you have time to come to my martial path mountain? Lin Fan smiled and asked. Huang Boren looked at the Big Demon curiously. This is a demon, the demon that wiped out the entire race in the city. Huang Boren was frightened and didn't dare to get too close. He asked in fear, Sect leader Lin, why do you still have this thing? It is so scary. The Big Demon roared at Huang Boren in rage. Scary? You humans are the true scarier ones. Huang Boren was terrified by the Big Demon's roar. Although this thing looked like a human, the gap between them was too huge. Lin Fan asked, Brother Huang, why do you have time to come to Martial Path Mountain? Nothing much. I just came to see when Martial Path Mountain would accept disciples. Huang Boren was concerned about this. He invested money into Martial Path Mountain because he wanted it to get stronger. However, during this period of time, he noticed that Martial Path Mountain had been renovating. Anyways, it didn't stop. How much did it have to be renovated into? Within 100 miles. Just one sect, even a gang, existed. He didn't ask for much. As long as Martial Path Mountain could develop into a normal sect, that was enough. Soon, Lin Fan smiled. He was really impatient. To Lin Fan, it didn't matter if Martial Path Mountain opened or not. His life now was really comfortable. As for taking in disciples, he didn't need to say much. He didn't have such thoughts at all. Why would he take in disciples? It was a waste of time and energy. The current situation was good. However, Huang Boren invested in Martial Path Mountain, so he couldn't kick him out just because he had money. As a city-rich family young master, he had to be honest in everything he did. At this moment, Huang Boren said softly, Sect leader Lin, why did Chen Xingyao take the spotlight for the bug incident? Now, he is called Hero Chun. In the future, when we face such things, can we let our Huang family take the spotlight? After all, our Huang family and Martial Path Mountain are working together, right? One had to say, since Chen Xingyao was called Hero Chun by the commoners, their popularity would be different. In the past, Chen Xingyao brought his lackeys to roam the streets. They ate whatever they saw and didn't pay for it. However, it was different now. As long as Chen Xingyao went out, the stall owners would give things to Chen Xingyao. It was like if Chen Xingyao didn't eat, they wouldn't give him face. To that, this wasn't the first time Chen Xingyao made a fuss at home. Chen Xingyao, am also a person who wants face. I like to eat and drink for free. Moreover, your helpless look makes me very excited. What's the situation now? You're giving it to me just like that? Don't you take me, Chen Xingyao, seriously? So, other people only saw how good Chen Xingyao was, but they couldn't see how angry he was. Huang Boren didn't see Chen Xingyao's bitterness and only saw his beauty. Moreover, in business, Chun family rose from the ashes. The commoner's first choice was Chun family. This caused all the merchants in the city to open their mouths wide. Some of them regretted it. When Chen Xingyao asked them to fork out money to set up a Martial Path Mountain Protection Organization, no one agreed. Who knew that Chen Xingyao would grab such a good chance? Lin Fan nodded his head. Okay, don't worry. Next time I have such a chance, I will give it to your Huang family. One Jiang city allowed him to earn so much. Although the leader of Wolf Brigade supported it with 100,000 silver, one had to say that the ability of a sect to earn money was really strong. As long as one had the ability, then the speed at which they earned money was something that all aristocratic families couldn't catch up to. What is money now? It wasn't much at all. Marshall Path Mountain couldn't be gold and jade. To others, it might seem vulgar, but Lin Fan liked that. It was best if the buildings on Marshall Path Mountain were all made of gold. 2 days later. Wolf Brigade Forest. A big demon walked under the sunlight. He was in a daze. His footsteps were a little unstable. In front of him was a dark forest. At this moment, there were many demons hiding in the forest. They didn't want to come out and attack the sunlight, which suppressed them. The hero is back. The demons in the forest exclaimed. The news of him returning instantly exploded. However, demons were cold. The hero they called himself returned, but no demon welcomed him with burning gazes. Pooey. Plastic friendship. Not long later, the big demon stood at the entrance of the forest. His body shuddered and shook. At that moment, only then did many hands reach out from the darkness and pull the big demon in. Just as the small demons wanted to cheer, they noticed that the big demon's expression wasn't right. His empty eyes looked like he had gone through a really intense tribulation. Saliva flowed from the corner of his mouth. His tongue hung down like he had gone through some intense torture. What happened? This was what all the small demons wanted to know. The big demon carried the stone plaque out and thought that he would return quickly. Who knew that he would return 2 days later? After he returned, he became like this. Suddenly, the big demon opened his mouth in a daze. Marshall Path Mountain. Dangerous. Suicide. Suicide. The moment he said that, the big demon fell to the ground and fainted. His situation was much better than the last big demon. That big demon died not long after he returned. He just fainted. All the demons exchanged glances with one another. What was going on? Why did he say that again? Marshall Path Mountain? Suicide? Was it really so terrifying? This wasn't the first time. The last one also said the same thing. Or was it really terrifying? Even more terrifying than us demons? P.S. I recommend a book. Apart from me, everyone in the world is a ghost. If you're interested, you can take a look. My son wrote it. P.S. Right? There are activities in the comments section. You can join them to get benefits. Chapter 155. The big demon didn't give Lin Fan many rage points. Just 3,000 rage points. This was the number he expected. He noticed that each person's rage points seemed to have a fixed range. The big demon wasn't weak, around Marshall Path Grade 8 or Marshall Path Grade 9. Actually, the truth was that each living being had a fixed amount of rage points. Maybe they could farm it repeatedly, but they weren't able to farm so much at once. To confirm that thought, Lin Fan released the big demon. However, even if he released it, he still had to reap the rage points. If not, he would have let down the big demon who personally came to him. Of course, his methods were a little overbearing, and the big demon obviously couldn't take it. If he continued, he might really kill the big demon. Although he didn't enjoy it to his heart's content, it was enough. The next day, the 9-headed bug grew up. Its body, along with the length of its neck, was palm-sized. Apart from a neck, its body was just half a palm tall. Its growth was too quick, like an aging dog feed. What do the advertisements say? High technology, good pig farming, 3 treasures. Everyone said it was good. Go Z was surprised. He had never seen someone grow so quickly. Just a few days had passed. Zhang Tianshan's expression became much more solemn. Bug. It was definitely a bug, and it wasn't a normal bug. Bugs needed a long time to grow, and this 9-headed bug grew too quickly. It didn't eat any treasures. It was all things that humans ate, and it could even turn food into energy. Its internal structure wasn't simple. Who knew what it would grow into in the future? Pung, pung. The 9-headed bug wasn't well behaved after being locked in the dog cage. Its back claws dug the dirt, and then it charged around, smashing its head onto the wooden fence. The sound was really low and heavy. It felt a little dizzy. It shook its head. Its back legs continued to dig the ground. It went all out and charged forwards. Pung! The wooden fence broke. The nine-headed bug shook its 9 heads and walked out from the small hole. It smelled its master's aura and ran really quickly, disappearing right away. Lin Fan had nothing to do and spent his days doing nothing. He wasn't motivated at all. However, it was precisely this kind of person who casually did some things and was lucky enough to have nearly 300,000 silver in savings. Not everyone could be envious of him. As for cultivation, he didn't need to cultivate every day. Once he had enough rage points, he just needed to increase them. Occasionally, he would spar with Cousin to train his combat skills. However, the so-called combat skills weren't practical and were rarely used. They would never take the initiative to provoke others, but if someone took the initiative to provoke them, the other party would not be able to live. "Young master, the bug is here," Go Z said softly. "Wasn't it locked in a cage?" How did it escape? He was a little afraid of the 9-headed bug, but because it was raised by the young master, this fear was hidden deep within. The 9-headed bug came to Lin Fan's feet and sat on the ground. It raised its 9 heads and looked at Lin Fan. "You are growing really quickly. It seems like the nourishing food I gave you didn't go to waste." Lin Fan smiled. He wanted to see how different the bug that 9-bug gang paid attention to was. At least not yet. It just had a lot of heads. Lin Fan picked up a grape. This wasn't a normal grape, but a really precious one. One bunch cost 1 silver. It was expensive, and normal people couldn't afford it. Even some rich merchants couldn't bear to eat it. Not long after eating it, it came out. It was all silver, so how could he not feel pained? Lin Fan tossed the grape to the ground. The 9-headed bug's 9 heads looked at one another and kept silent for a moment. They started to fight, causing dust to spread out. It was like a gangster fighting on the ground. One of the heads snatched the grape and swallowed it. Blood flowed from its nostrils. Its lips curled up like it was delighted. Lin Fan knew that the 9 heads each had their own thoughts and would fight with one another. That was interesting. Lin Fan picked up another grape and tossed it into the distance. "Go pick it up." He was totally raising the bug like a dog. With a dog at home, it was much more fun. Of course, although this was a bug and not a dog, he could call it a dog. Who agreed and who objected? The 9-headed bug picked up the grape and started a fight. It was really intense. Dust flew everywhere. Not long later, one of the heads snatched the grape and ran back happily. The last time he looked, he didn't notice that the 9-headed bug had a tail. Who knew that it would actually have a tail now? The tail in the middle was really obvious, but the other tails weren't too obvious. This wasn't fair. He needed to carefully develop it. Refresh. He raised the bug controlling technique to the highest realm and used the special internal strength of the bug controlling technique to feed it. The 9-headed bug sucked the internal strength. It was like it was enjoying it. This time it sucked a little more than the first time. It was more edible than the first time he fed it. Such a sucking was definitely something normal people couldn't handle. Each time they were sucked, the bug controlling technique's special internal strength would need to be slowly cultivated back. However, Lin Fan's gray special internal strength didn't decrease at all. He could casually suck it. How much he could eat depended on his ability. He was just afraid that he wouldn't be able to finish it. Zhang Tianshan stood in the distance and looked expressionlessly at the naughty bug. He hoped that nothing would happen. Lin Wani trusted him and sent his son over for him to take care of. Although he didn't take good care of him, he definitely had to let the kid live safely. He knew why Lin Wani sent his son over. That was because what they had to face was something more terrifying than anything else. Even Lin Wani himself didn't dare say that he could protect his son. Zhang Tianshan felt huge pressure on him. It seemed like he needed to continue working hard to suppress this kid and not let him be too arrogant. That night, Lin Fan had nothing to do, so he looked at the small support system. Rage points, 16886. After coming to this world, he had the small support system to accompany him. Although it had few functions and was a little weak, he could still play around. He really envied those amazing support systems. At points, physique slowly jumped from 270 to 271. 272. He didn't max it out at once. When external cultivation and internal strength weren't enough to support the strengthening of physique, that feeling of his body tearing apart was just too terrifying. That pain was worse than giving birth. It was still okay now. There wasn't that feeling. Not long later, physique rose from 270 to 300. Physique, 300, martial path grade 10. After raising unmovable king body to the highest realm, it was enough to support the increase in physique. It was not bad. He felt that his physical body had been greatly improved. There was a wave of qi filling every corner of his body. He wondered if he could improve his physical body to an extremely high level. Would he be able to reach the point where his physical body would be immortal? TSK. He was dreaming again. Each time he used the small support system to add points, he would have such unrealistic thoughts. Now each point required 400 rage points. Raising physique to martial path grade 10 consumed 12,000 points. Martial path grade 12. Who knew how many more he would need for the last two? Now that he was both at martial path grade 10, he could tell anyone that he was strong and that they shouldn't offend him, otherwise the consequences would be severe. However, he didn't like a fight. He just wanted to live a carefree and happy life. With that as his goal, he worked hard to achieve what he wanted. At least, he was working hard now, and the results were not bad. A few days later, at the entrance of Jiang City, a few uninvited guests came. They were covered in black robes and weren't afraid of attracting attention. They slowly walked into the city. When the guards saw these weird people, they didn't stop them. After seeing so many people, they knew who they could offend and who they couldn't. These people didn't look like good people, so who dared to offend them? Maybe they wouldn't even know how they died. They came to a street. The four black-robed people stood there. Their noses, which were covered by the black robe, sniffed. This is the place. The mother bug died here. The smell hasn't dissipated. How should we search? So much time has passed. Who knows if they left or not? Yang Fei isn't their match, so she definitely didn't kill them. But who did it? The four black-robed people discussed. Then, they asked the person who set up the stall there. They want to know about the weird things that happened in Jiang City. When the stall owner saw the four of them, he was a little afraid. However, when they took out Silver, the smile on his face was like a blooming flower. It was so bright and beautiful. The few bosses were just so generous. He then talked about what happened a while ago. The bug-killing incident. Many people died in Jiang City, and everyone panicked. Just as everyone didn't know what to do, young Master Chun was a hero and solved the matter. The next morning, the entire street was covered in bug corpses. It was really terrifying. The four black-robed people listened to what the stall owner said and slowly had some clues. These bugs were black corpse bugs. Apart from finding the mother and son bugs, they would also crazily lay eggs in people's bodies. These bugs had to be controlled. If they weren't controlled, then they would move on their own and randomly invade the surrounding living beings. The entire street was covered in bugs. That meant that they were forced to a certain stage and had an intense battle with the enemy. The young Master Chun that the stall owner mentioned seemed to be related to this matter. "Boss, where's the Chun family?" One of the black-robed men asked. The stall owner pointed into the distance. "Walk forwards and turn left. Then continue walking and turn right. You will see Chun family." The four of them looked at one another and left right away. They headed to Chun family to take a look. Of course, before they understood the exact situation, they wouldn't enter Chun family. Since they had the ability to kill one-eyed and the others, it meant that they weren't weak. They looked at the Chun family gate from afar. It was really majestic, a rich family. The four of them came to the tea stall and sat there. They ordered tea and waited quietly. They observed Chun Manor's movements. At the same time, they chatted with the stall owner to ask about the Chun family situation. P.S. Let me tell you guys a piece of good news. Chapter 156. The tea stall owner looked at the four weirdly dressed people and shook his head. Why do people nowadays bite off more than they can chew? A while ago, there were young people who sat here and looked at Chun family for a long time. In the end, Maybe they thought it through and left. He didn't expect to meet such people today. What was the point of looking? Did they think that there was such a strong family like Chun family just by looking? Stop dreaming, kids. Just go back to work. Boss, is this Chun family? The four of them were dressed the same. There was a red bug embroidered on their robes. It was vicious and lively, like there was a bug attached to their clothes. The tea stall owner said, "Right, this is Chun family, one of the biggest families in Jiang City. Since old Master Chun was murdered, Chun family young master worked hard and did many amazing things." Did he know how to brag? Of course he did. The bug had nothing to do with Chun Shengyao. He was a victim, but he had no choice. The commoners all thought that he did it, so he had to admit it. Especially when Chun family situation improved, it actually made him feel good. So amazing, then Chun family must be really strong? One of the black-robed men asked. The tea stall owner smiled. "I don't know about that. I'm just a tea seller, so how would I know how strong Chun family is? However, you definitely didn't expect that an important person came to our Jiang City." At this point, the tea stall owner's face revealed a proud smile. If he had something to say, just say it. Why hide it? If this wasn't Jiang City and it was broad daylight, they would have attacked, personally prying open the old man's mouth and smashing his teeth to make him finish his words. There was only one word to describe such a person who didn't finish his words. Despicable. "Oh, what important person?" the black-robed man asked. He was curious. In the eyes of others, the news was something to be proud of, but for some, it was very important news. The old man carried a pot of tea. It was obvious that he wanted to chat with these outsiders. The black-robed man moved a spot for the old man to sit down. "Don't rush. Chat slowly. Guess first. If you guess correctly, then this tea is free," the tea stall owner said. Damn, he was about to cry from anger at the old man. He actually asked them to guess. What a courageous old man. They usually took out their knives and asked people to guess whether they would stab you next. "Boss, how do we guess? Why don't you tell us?" the leader of the black-robed men asked with a smile. The old man at the tea stall smiled. "Forget it. Let me tell you, the first prince came to Jiang City some time ago and even stayed for a period of time. Do you think he's a big shot? Our Jiang City has never had a big shot come before. Now that the first prince is here, I feel that the air in Jiang City has become fresh. Bullsh asterisk tea, you bootlicker. Even the air was fresh." First prince? That's incredible. The black-robed men exchanged glances. Clearly, they had not expected the first prince to pass by Jiang City and even stay there. This was an important piece of news that had to be reported to the gang. The slightest clue could very well affect the future direction. Of course, for the first prince to come to Jiang City is our honor. Moreover, let me tell you that the first prince has drunk my tea. The prince that you are sitting on has also sat on it. How is it? Do you smell a celestial energy? The old man bragged. Making things out of nothing could only deceive outsiders. Of course, these outsiders weren't easy to deal with. The old man was just naive and didn't see the true faces of the black-robed men, so he kept on bragging. The black-robed men knew what words were trustworthy and what words weren't. Although they were talking to the old man, their eyes were locked onto Chun Manor. Head Su gave them a mission that they had to complete. If they didn't, the consequences weren't something they could handle. Just at that moment, someone came out from Chun Manor. The four black-robed men looked over. "Who is that?" The tea stall owner smiled. "That is the Chun family manager. Behind him is the Chun family young master Chen Shengyao. How is it? Our Jiang City hero is not bad, right? He was just a little bad in the past, but he is much better now. All of this is due to the first prince. He must have instilled ideals into young Master Chun, which is why he became better." The black-robed men were confused. Maybe things weren't as they thought. Did Crown Prince shout Qi instill ideals? Clearly, that was impossible. He must have said something that caused the other party to change. They observed Chun Xingyao and noticed that the way he walked didn't look like a martial path expert. He looked really weak, but that was impossible. If he was really so weak, he definitely wouldn't have been able to kill one-eyed and the others. What was hidden within? Before they understood, they didn't dare to attack. "Let's go." The black-robed man took out money and then left. The credibility of the old man's bragging was just scarily low. Chun Xingyao couldn't stay in the manor. It was just too boring. That scene of being surrounded and praised made him feel good in his heart. One had to say that such a feeling didn't fit his style at all. This was why his heart was rejecting it. Chun Xingyao looked around the city. He didn't know what he was going to do. He felt like his life had lost some meaning. In the past, when he saw girls, he would tease them to kill time. But now, tease? What a joke. Who knew how many people wanted to tease him to enter the Chun family? Did they really think that he couldn't see through them? In the distance, the black-robed man moved his fingers and a flying bug flew over. He didn't want to alert them, but if he didn't test their strength, they wouldn't dare to act. The flying bug flapped its wings and was really quick. As long as he was an expert, he would be able to react right away and counterattack. Unfortunately, when the flying bug was about to touch him, he didn't react at all. He didn't even know what was attacking him from behind. The black-robed man swiftly recalled the bug. "Do you think he is faking it, or is it real?" the black-robed man asked. The other three kept silent for a moment. "I am not sure. Let's continue to observe." Chun Xingyao didn't know that 9 bug gang had their eyes on him. Manager Yu felt excited that his young master had such a high position in the hearts of the people. If this continued, Chun family would be able to recover to their peak and even exceed it. In the past, he had always believed that he had to use gentle methods to make the commoners respect the Chun family. But unfortunately, old master only listened to him a little. Sometimes, he relied on his methods to make them fear him. Naturally, not to mention young master, he was just so cruel and violent. It was really tough for him to become like this now. The 4 black-robed men followed Chun Xingyao and realized that this fellow was like what the stall owner said. He was really welcomed by the people. They wanted to know 2 things. First was whether or not he killed One-Eyed and the others. Second was what did the Crown Prince say to him. These 2 were huge matters. The second was a bonus. Maybe if he reported it to the gang, he would be rewarded. As time went on, they were more and more confused. Was he strong or not? They followed him for so long. If he noticed their tracks, it would be a reminder to them. But looking at the situation, it seemed like he didn't notice them at all. It was really unpredictable. That night, Chun family courtyard was really quiet. 3 black shadows hid Chun family. Outside, there was a black shadow waiting. As long as the situation wasn't right, he would leave right away. He would head back to report to the gang. The black-robed man waiting outside was really nervous. Please don't let anything happen. Even if something happened, he had to run out. He couldn't stay here. They were all people who lived on the edge of the blade. The missions they faced were really weird and sometimes dangerous. However, they relied on their steady mentality to survive until now. Not long later, 3 people walked out. One of them carried Chun Xingyao on his shoulder. "We were all wrong. He is really weak, and it is really easy," one of the black-robed men said. They knew that he was so weak. They attacked right from the start. Why wait until now? It really made them speechless. They were to blame for thinking too much. Actually, the situation wasn't so complicated. When they entered the room, they were really wary. But he was still snoring. They thought that he was fishing, but after they knocked him out, they realized that he wasn't faking it. He was really weak. Within the city, in an old and abandoned house, the black-robed man casually tossed Chun Xingyao. With a pung, Chun Xingyao screamed and woke up. Li Song. He habitually called him a lackey. But slowly, he realized that the situation wasn't right. This wasn't Qin Manor. Then, he saw 4 people wrapped in black robes appear in front of him. Gulp. Chun Xingyao was a little nervous. What was going on? Where the F***ck am I right now? Why did they kidnap him here? I haven't done anything bad recently. The people in the city all love him very much. Did you kidnap the wrong person? If you didn't, then tell me if you need ransom. I will pay any amount. Anyway, don't be rash. Chun Xingyao said. He was really afraid. Don't kill me. If you kill me, you won't get anything. Moreover, he wasn't sick of these days. Pung. One of the black-robed men punched Chun Xingyao's face without hesitation. The fist was really heavy and left a fist mark on Chun Shengyao's face. Chun Shengyao retreated. His voice was filled with a crying tone. If you have something to say, then say it nicely. Why did you hit me? I didn't offend you. What was going on? If you had something to say, then say it. Why did you have to attack? Chun Shengyao, have never been hit in my life. No, I was hit by that dumb guy from Marshall Path Mountain. That was the only time, so why did someone come and hit him? The black-robed man didn't want to let Chun Shengyao off so easily and punched him once more. Continue to act. Chun Shengyao was stunned. Act your mom? I was having a good sleep, and you all tied me up for no reason. You even said that I was acting. Can you be more reasonable? P.S. Let me tell you a piece of good news, I signed. Chapter 157. Chun Shengyao wanted to cry. What was going on? He could swear to the heavens that if he acted or offended others, his entire family would die. However, he really didn't offend anyone, especially these 4 people who came out of nowhere. He had never even seen them before. The black-robed man didn't say any nonsense. He just beat Chun Shengyao up like he was venting the rage he had during the day. You acted. You wasted our time. The other 3 black-robed men didn't stop him. They needed time to vent out their tense emotions. They had already brought him back. As long as he didn't die, it was normal to beat him up. They were really furious. They had never been scared by anyone before. They were careful just to be safe. But today, they were scared by this fellow and didn't dare to attack. At night, they even left one person outside to retreat. Such a high-standard action was actually wasted on a piece of trash who didn't know anything. It was a little embarrassing to say that out loud. Chun Shengyao hugged his head and curled up his body. He silently endured the undeserved fist. It hurt. It really hurt. Someone save me. Chun Shengyao shouted in his heart. He was tied up here for no reason and was beaten up for no reason. Couldn't they tell him why? At least give him a reason, right? Beating him up for no reason had no artistic beauty at all. After a long while, maybe because he was tired, he stopped. Chun Shengyao felt his face swollen. His bones felt like they were about to shatter. He suffered heavy injuries today and felt really bad. Till now, he still didn't know what had happened. Was there such a thing? The black-robed man asked. You are the Chun family young master, Chun Shengyao, right? Damn, wasn't that a nonsense question? You didn't even know who I was when you captured me. Why don't you just die? But he didn't dare to say that. He could only nod his head. I am Chun Shengyao. Fellow heroes, please speak. I love to help others. Maybe we can become good friends. The black-robed man knelt down and grabbed Chun Shengyao's hair. I am asking you, where's the thing? Thing? Chun Shengyao was stunned. What thing? Punk. The black-robed man smashed Chun Shengyao's face to the ground. Tears and mucus flowed out. The black-robed man raised his face and asked sternly, I'll ask you again. Where is it? If he still wanted to be stubborn at this moment, he would be courting death. If they couldn't even get this information out of him, then they would have wasted their time. I really don't know what you're talking about. Chun Shengyao was about to cry. This was an undeserved calamity. He didn't do anything, nor did he snatch anything from others. You're still being stubborn? Very good. Let's see how tough your bones are. The black-robed man opened the black jar on his waist and took out a fat worm. Under Chun Shengyao's terrified gaze, he stuffed the fat worm into his mouth. The black-robed man let go of Chun Shengyao and stood there with a cold smile on his face. What did you give me to eat? Chun Shengyao scratched his throat, wanting to spit out the worm, but it was already in his stomach. The black-robed man didn't reply and just watched. When dealing with stubborn people, they had 100,000 ways to make them open their mouths and tell them what they wanted to know. And now, I'll let you experience it properly. Not long later, Chun Shengyao hugged his stomach and rolled on the ground. He felt like someone was using a knife to stab his stomach again and again, like his intestines were being ripped apart. He screamed, and his head was covered in sweat. So painful, it really was painful. Who did I offend? I really don't know what it is. Can't you all speak clearly? I'm going to die. I am really going to die. My stomach hurts so much and my bones feel like they're about to melt. My brain feels like there are many needles stabbing into it. It is really painful. Save me. Who can save me? I really can't take it anymore. After a while, the black-robed man asked, Tell me, where's the thing? Chun Shengyao rolled on the ground in pain. His head was covered in sweat, and his words were unclear. I don't know. Good, that was really good. He was really stubborn. The black-robed man didn't say anything. He would let him experience the consequences of not telling the truth. He screamed continuously, and Chun Xingyao's voice started to become hoarse. He shouted too fiercely and was about to faint. I will give you one more chance. Where is the thing? The black-robed man asked. This was one of the few stubborn people he had seen before. I really don't know. Chun Xingyao had no strength to speak. The pain made him suffocate. He was about to die from the pain. The black-robed man exchanged glances with one another. He was shocked. He underestimated him. He had no strength, but he was really stubborn. If this goes on, he will die from the pain. If he dies, our mission will have failed. I didn't expect this fellow to be so stubborn. In the past, there weren't many people who could hold on to such an extent and not say anything. A small Jiang city actually has such a person. He is indeed worthy of respect. Unfortunately, he did something he shouldn't have done. The black-robed man discussed with one another. Since this method was useless, then he changed it. No matter how stubborn a person was, he would have to say everything when he met them. Very quickly, the black-robed man placed his palm on Chun Xingyao's stomach and used a special internal strength to kill the bug. With a poochie, Chun Xingyao seemed to have farted. His pants were a little red. When the bug died, it would release a special aura that would cause one to have diarrhea and send the bug's corpse out. The black-robed man helped Chun Xingyao to lean against the pillar. You felt the pain. I will give you one more chance. Where is the thing? What is it? Chun Xingyao asked weakly. At least tell him what it was. They didn't even tell him what it was, so how was he supposed to answer them? You have balls. The black-robed man was impressed. He really did have balls. Was he challenging their patience, or did he really think that they couldn't do anything to him? Chun Xingyao was thinking about whether or not there was some misunderstanding between them that they didn't explain. But just as he was about to ask, the other party violently opened his mouth and poured the liquid from the black tube into his mouth. This is corpse bug water. It will make your entire body itch. As long as you scratch, your flesh will fall off piece by piece. The black-robed man said coldly. They had many ways to torture people. You're stubborn, right? Sure. Let's see how stubborn you can be. Stop playing. Chun Xingyao was in despair. Instantly, it acted up. The corpse bug water started to act up. He felt his body itch. As time went on, it got more and more itchy. He really couldn't take it anymore. So itchy. Chun Xingyao rolled on the ground. His entire body, from his toes to his scalp, was itchy like numerous bugs were biting him. He really wanted to scratch. But when he thought about what he said, he felt fear. If he scratched, his flesh would fall off piece by piece. Just thinking about it was terrifying. Even if it was, he couldn't scratch it. But it was really itchy, and he really wanted to scratch it. When he raised his hand to scratch his face, he placed it down. His body constricted, his legs kicked, he struggled, and he bore with it. He couldn't scratch it. I, Chun Xingyao, am handsome. I definitely can't be disfigured, I can't. Suddenly, who knew where Chun Xingyao's courage came from? He charged towards the pillar and fainted. He laid on the ground and didn't move at all. The black-robed man looked at one another. You are too stubborn. So what if you say it? Why do you have to compete with us like this? They definitely couldn't kill him now. If they didn't get anything, they wouldn't get anything if they killed him. But if they didn't kill him, they wouldn't be able to pry open his mouth and get the information they wanted to know. What should we do? Wake him up and continue to torture him. I'm afraid he will go crazy. I have seen people who are stubborn. Let's wake him up and ask him what he wants. If he continues to fight with us, he won't have a good ending. And okay, the four black-robed men were helpless against Chun Xingyao. This fellow was a little fierce. He was slightly different from the people they had seen before. Very quickly, Chun Xingyao woke up. His eyes were filled with shock. When he saw the four of them, he was so terrified that his body trembled. He had never encountered such a crime in his entire life. Chun Xingyao felt really uncomfortable. He even wanted to die. Where did these people come from? They were just too vicious. The black-robed man squatted down and looked at Chun Shengyao. You really aren't going to say where the thing is? Wait, can we have a good chat? I feel like there is a misunderstanding. Chun Shengyao said weakly. He felt like there was definitely a problem. He could swear on his dead father that he, Chun Shengyao, had never taken anything. If he did, let the heavens strike his father's coffin into smithereens. I really don't know what the thing you're talking about is. Can you tell me what it is? Chun Shengyao asked. One of the black-robed men was furious. At such a time, you still dare to be stubborn. Do you really think we won't kill you? However, the leader of the black-robed men stopped his furious companions. Let me ask you, did bugs appear in Jiang City before? Chun Shengyao nodded right away. Yes. In one night, many dead bugs appeared on the streets. You know about that, right? The black-robed man asked. Chun Shengyao said, I know about that, but I definitely didn't do it. Don't rush, listen to me slowly. That day, someone died in the city. The commoners found me and asked me to solve it. So, I found Marshall Path Mountain to help. Since many bugs appeared on the streets, no one died. Chun Shengyao felt like things weren't right. He felt like he was taking the blame for someone else. Marshall Path Mountain? The black-robed man was confused. Where did Marshall Path Mountain come from? To have the ability to kill one-eyed and the others, that was a little unbelievable. Shortly after, the four black-robed men seemed to understand something. Damn, ha! The four of them slapped their own mouths in rage. So that was the reason they were really stupid. P.S. The good news is that after writing for 3 years and 9 months, I finally signed a contract. I just sent it over today. Chapter 158. They didn't believe it. He was so weak, so how could he kill one-eyed and the others? Especially when the item was on Yang Fei. Such a meticulous and vicious woman wouldn't die so easily. So everything was just smoke. Right, Marshall Path Mountain. There is a mountain not far from Jiang City. That is Marshall Path Mountain. Let me tell you, there are a total of 6 people on the mountain. Based on what I know, only 2 of them can fight. The 4 of you will be fine. Chun Shengyao told him everything he knew in one go. He understood. He was the scapegoat. It had nothing to do with him, but because of his reputation, people misunderstood him, and he suffered such a tragic torture. Prince Shao Qi, you are the culprit who harmed me. If not for Shao Qi telling the people to find him, he wouldn't have been surrounded by them. In the end, he found Marshall Path Mountain and spent 48,000 silver to solve this matter. He said that he didn't like such fake reputations. Now, it was these fake reputations that harmed him. Who said that he was stubborn? The black-robed man felt a little ashamed. All of them said that this person was a rare stubborn person. Stubborn what? That was because they didn't make things clear, such that he didn't know how to reply. He would definitely say that he didn't know. The more he said that he didn't know, the angrier they got, so they wanted to torture him. Only now did they understand that they were asking for it. Look at how smoothly this fellow replied. Before they even asked about the Marshall Path Mountain situation, he said everything about it. How many people, how many could fight, he said it clearly. He was really afraid of death. Who knew how many such people they had seen? In the past, when they carried out missions, they often faced such people. At the start, they were stubborn, but when the torture started, they would cry and beg. They would say anything, even what illnesses they had. At that moment, Chun Shengyao curled up like a little girl who was bullied. He shivered as he looked at the 4 black-robed men. Shortly after, the black-robed man's words shocked him, and his face turned white. Since that is the case, then he has no value. Next is Marshall Path Mountain. In Marshall Path Mountain, who knew that a sect would dare to snatch our 9 bug gangs things? Once we deal with it, we will let him evaporate. Chun Shengyao panicked. They wanted to kill him and make him disappear from the face of the earth. Didn't that mean that even his corpse couldn't be found? No, absolutely not. I have to live. I can't die. Can I make a suggestion? Chun Shengyao slowly raised his hand. He didn't dare to be too presumptuous. He was about to cry. These people were too dangerous. No matter what, he, Chun Shengyao, was a top young master in Rivertown. Moreover, he was a young master of a wealthy family. You guys didn't give me any face at all and killed me just like that. Have you considered my feelings? Speak, what is it? The black-robed man asked. Their goal was to retrieve the important treasure of the gang. As for the process, it was not important at all. What was important was the result. In order to survive, Chun Shengyao started to brag. He could tell that money was not attractive to these people at all. Perhaps to them, finding the so-called thing was the most important thing. I have a good relationship with the Marshall Path Mountain sect leader. He is really strong, so to reduce problems, you could tie me up and let him take out things to trade with you. Don't think that I am joking. What I said is true. My Chun family invested in Marshall Path Mountain because the Marshall Path Mountain sect leader is my best friend. Chun Shengyao started to brag. He just hoped that they wouldn't hurt him. He just wanted to live. Was there a problem? There was no problem. Is what you said true? The black-robed man asked. Yes, I swear to the heavens that I am not lying. Chun Shengyao went against his conscience. All of this was fake, but if it was true, then he would lose his life. Only Marshall Path Mountain Lin Fan could save him now. The black-robed men interacted with one another. They just wanted to complete the mission. If they could really use this person to trade for the item, then naturally they would. Who knew what those black-robed men were talking about? One of the black-robed men pried opened Chun Shenyao's mouth and fed him a type of insect. Kid, you dare to lie to us. You are dead. As long as we get the item, we will help you get rid of the bug. If not, your entire body will rot and you will die. I'm going to faint. When Chun Shengyao heard that, his eyes rolled and he fainted. How is there such a vicious person? What kind of bad luck did he have for all sorts of bad things to happen to him? The next day, young master. Li Tsong woke young master up as usual, but today was a little weird. He shouted for a long time, but there was no movement at all. Weird. Usually young master should be awake at this time. Li Tsong was really curious. He didn't care much and pushed open the door. There was no one in the room at all. Young master. Li Tsong left the room and searched outside. Where did young master go? Based on young master's habits, he definitely wouldn't wake up and head out. He would only wake up when someone came to serve him. Damn! He searched outside the room. Li Tsong, what are you doing? Manager Yu saw Li Tsong looking around and asked curiously. Young master is gone. Li Tsong exclaimed. He was actually panicking. Not right, this was really not right. Young master wouldn't disappear for no reason and wouldn't bring anyone out. In the past, no matter where young master went, at least he would bring either him or Manager Yu. Young master is gone? What nonsense are you saying? Manager Yu stared at him in rage. He then entered the room and noticed that young master wasn't there. The two of them looked at one another and went to the door to ask whether or not young master went out. The reply they got was that they didn't see young master go out at all. They instantly felt that things weren't right. Something definitely happened. Li Tsong, bring the people in the manor and search the entire place. If there isn't anything, then search every corner of the city. We have to find young master. Manager Yu said solemnly. Young master disappeared from the manor. This was a huge matter. Old master hadn't died for long, and if something happened to young master, then Chun family would be finished. Li Tsong nodded his head. He gathered people to search within the manor. He didn't even let go of the toilet, using wooden sticks to stir. Don't think that he was crazy. What if young master went to the toilet in the middle of the night and fell into the pit? Everything he did was to be safe. He didn't miss any corner. All the way until the afternoon. They still didn't find any traces of Chun Shengyao. This caused Li Tsong and Manager Yu to feel a chill down their spines. Where did young master go? They searched the entire city, even the brothels that young master liked to go to. They even went to the most impossible place, which was old master's tomb. What should we do? We still can't find young master. Could he have been kidnapped? Li Tsong said. Manager Yu's face was dark and sunken, and he didn't reply. Actually, there was such a possibility. Continue to search in the city. I will return soon. Manager Yu said. Until now, they still hadn't found young master, so there was a high chance that he was kidnapped. Young master did whatever he wanted in Jiang City, but he slowly cleaned up so no one hated him. Moreover, Chun family was huge, so there was a high chance that he was kidnapped. Marshall Path Mountain. Lin Fan waited for the sun to set. He looked at it and drank tea. That was life. That was true leisure. Sect Leader Lin. In the distance, Manager Yu ran up from the foot of the mountain. He panted, and his head was covered in sweat. Why did Marshall Path Mountain have so many steps? Lin Fan took a look, so it was Chun family's Manager Yu. He wasn't interested. That was weird. Why did Chun family people always run over to his place? They made it seem like they had a good relationship. Lin Fan drank tea and asked leisurely, "So, it is Manager Yu. What is the matter?" Sect Leader Lin, "My young master is gone." Manager Yu panted and said, "What does it have to do with me that your young master is gone? I wasn't the one who caused him to disappear. Or is your Chun family trying to frame me?" Lin Fan asked. Manager Yu waved his hands. "No, I didn't mean that. I just want Sect Leader Lin to help search." Lin Fan smiled. "Manager Yu, your words are interesting. This is a sect, not a place to search for people. You should go back and search for him yourself." Sect Leader Lin, "My young master gave 48,000 silver to Marshall Path Mountain to protect Jiang City. Now that he is gone, isn't that?" Before Manager Yu finished, Lin Fan interrupted him. "Wait, did you get it wrong? Of course we will protect, but the content is that if there is a murder case in Jiang City, or if someone comes to cause trouble, our Marshall Path Mountain won't sit still and do nothing. But searching for people is out of the scope. Based on what you said, if someone is gone in Jiang City, then does our Marshall Path Mountain have to help find them?" Lin Fan said. He was helpless. What was going on with these people? Of course, he knew that Chun Shengyao was kidnapped. Actually, this situation was within the scope of his service. What a waste. The target was Chun family. Their conflict wasn't so easy to solve, so he had to knock on their door. Steward Yu was rendered speechless. For a moment, he did not know what to say. Sect Leader Lin's words made sense. "Forget it. I see that you are worried about your master. It is rare to have such a good family member, so I will give you face. Give me 20,000 and I will help you search for your young master. The chances of finding him should be higher." Lin Fan said, "What? Why don't you just rob him?" When Manager Yu heard that, he exploded. "Oh my God, 20,000 taels of silver. He actually dared to say that much." Lin Fan said, "I can't help you. My Marshall Path Mountain has so many people waiting to eat, so I can't help you." Manager Yu cursed Lin Fan to death in his heart. Didn't they have some conflicts in the past? My young master sent people from Wolf Brigade to wipe out Marshall Path Mountain. That was all in the past. So how could he still remember? But they sent out so many people and couldn't find him for an entire morning. There was nothing they could do. If they still couldn't find him, then the outcome would be catastrophic. Okay, 20,000 then. Sect Leader Lin, please help me find my young master. Manager Yu said. Lin Fan nodded. Don't worry, I will try my best. You head back first, I will prepare. Manager Yu cupped his fists and left hurriedly. When he left, Lin Fan took out the paper that he was pressing under his butt. Hey, he's weird. What does your kidnapping of Chun, Shengyao, have to do with me? You even want me to bring something over to ransom him. You make it sound like I have a good relationship with him. Also, what is this thing? It is good to make it clear. This paper was sent over by a commoner. When he saw the content, he felt that it was a joke. It had nothing to do with him. He was prepared not to go. Now that he had these 20,000, forget it, he would take a look. However, it was dangerous to go at night. What if the Yin demons came out? Go Zi, called Zhang Tianshan over. Lin Fan knew that Zhang Tianshan had methods to deal with the Yin demons. He didn't ask to save him and just wanted to be safe. If he really faced the Yin demons, he would just retreat. If Chun Shengyao died, bringing his corpse back would be considered completing the mission. Chapter 159. Bastard. Manager Yu was so furious that his face turned white. Was he still a human? He asked for money when he had the chance. That was extortion. He was just snatching. Wasn't it just because young master told Wolf Brigade to wipe out Marshall Path Mountain? How much hatred did he have? With such a small heart, Marshall Path Mountain definitely wouldn't be able to develop. That night, on a small hill far from Marshall Path Mountain, the four black-robed men were waiting. Chen Shengyao knelt there in panic and didn't know what to do. What he was thinking in his heart was whether that Lin fellow would come as promised or not. These four people were so cunning. He thought that they would personally bring him up Marshall Path Mountain, but who knew that they would send someone to ask him to bring things to redeem him? Damn, he was finished. His relationship with that surnamed Lin person wasn't good. Maybe he wished for him to die. How would he come to save him? The four black-robed men exchanged glances with one another. Instantly, three of them split up and hid in the darkness. Only one of them held Chen Xingyao and waited for him to arrive. If he doesn't come, are you going to kill me? Chen Xingyao asked. The black-robed man said coldly, since you know the outcome, then why ask? Isn't it pointless? Chen Xingyao panicked. I am rich. My Chun family is rich. As long as you let me go, I can give you a lot of money, so much that you won't even dare to imagine it. Huh! The black-robed man slapped, and Chen Shengyao covered his face as he fell to the ground. Don't use money to insult me. The people who insulted me are all dead. Chen Shengyao looked at him in fear. Crazy. When did he insult you? Didn't he just talk about money? Apart from money, he didn't have anything in common with him. Time passed minute by minute. Chen Shengyao was tormented. He looked into the distance and prayed in his heart. Come quickly, big brother. I'm begging you. Please come, otherwise I'm really going to die here. After a long while, he was still nowhere to be seen. The black-robed man's gaze towards Chen Shengyao became dark and cold. Chen Shengyao was terrified and said anxiously, Don't rush. He will be here soon. He doesn't have a sense of time. Just wait, don't rush. The black-robed man did not speak. It was as if he was giving Chen Shengyao one last chance. Not long after, a voice came from afar. To Chen Shengyao, this voice was like the sound of nature. It was so beautiful. Chen Shengyao, are you dead? Chen Shengyao immediately shouted. No, brother, I'm not dead yet. You came at the right time. I'm so out of time, yet nothing happened. Sigh. Lin Fan was filled with regret. He thought that Chen Shengyao had already been killed. Who would have thought that the other party would give him a chance to stall for time? The professionalism of these kidnappers was not very high. Whether Chen Shengyao lived or died had little to do with him. Rage points plus 666, it exploded. Chen Shengyao exploded and reached the peak of his life. What the hell are you talking about? This is too hurtful. You actually came late on purpose. Fortunately, these guys gave me a chance to delay, otherwise I would have been killed by you. Lin Fan brought cousin over. Zhang Tianshan wanted to come too, but Lin Fan rejected him. What is he doing here? It was completely useless. Zhou Mao looked around. Not only did he have to be wary of these people, but he also had to pay attention to the Yin demons. He felt that cousin was taking a risk, but if cousin wanted to come, then he would listen unconditionally. So what if there were Yin demons? At most, he would just fight them. The black-robed man didn't bother about Chen Shengyao. He had already fed him the bug. Without his antidote, he would definitely die. Did you bring the thing? The black-robed man asked. What he needed was 9 bug gang's treasure. He didn't care about anything else. Lin Fan asked, what thing? He asked even though he knew the answer. The thing they wanted should be that 9-headed bug. He really didn't expect a bug to attract so many people. Rage points plus 111. The black-robed man's tone changed. He was unhappy. The thing you got from those people. Don't play tricks with me. People who play tricks with us won't have a good ending. Maybe you have heard of 9 Bug Gang. That belongs to us. Hand it over. Lin Fan was a little lost. He felt really bad. He really hadn't heard of this gang name. Oh, don't tell me you were talking about the 9-headed bug. Lin Fan asked. The black-robed man was delighted as expected. That's right. Hand it over. Your friend has been poisoned. Without my antidote, he won't live until tomorrow morning. Chen Shengyao shuddered. Damn, he had already explained clearly that it had nothing to do with him. So why did he have to be brought along? Did he rape his wife or kill his entire family? I'm just an ordinary commoner with a little bit of money. Then, I'm really sorry. He is dead. I placed him on the fire rack to roast. It smells really good, crunches in my mouth, and tastes really good. Lin Fan smiled and said. He didn't pay attention to the matter of Chun Shengyao being poisoned. Rage points plus 555. Rage points plus 333. Rage points plus 333. Rage points plus 444. Lin Fan looked around. Weird, why haven't the other three come out? Why are they hiding? Come out and have a chat. The moment he said that, the black-robed man was stunned. He didn't expect that Lin Fan would notice his partners. Hand it over, otherwise he will definitely die. The black-robed man pointed at Chun Shengyao, using this to threaten Lin Fan and force him to hand it over. Chun Shengyao felt really awkward. Actually, he understood that his relationship with Lin Fan didn't develop towards a friendly direction. Instead, there were many conflicts between them, but he didn't want to die. Who would want to die if their brains were sick? Sect Leader Lin, save me. We could discuss the conditions. Chun Shengyao shouted. He could see that this surnamed Lin person loved silver. As the Chun family young master, he was actually really pitiful. He had nothing and only had those emotionless silver. Discuss the conditions? Didn't you say that you were good friends with him? The black-robed man asked. Chun Shengyao was speechless. Are you a fool? You believe everything I say. Why don't you just die? Cousin, let's end this quickly just in case. Zhou Zhongmao wasn't worried about these people, but he was wary of the Yin demons. There were just too many of them. Once he was tangled up with them, it would be tough to escape. Lin Fan nodded his head and slowly walked towards the black-robed man. There is no point in saying more. It is just nonsense and a waste of time. He really wanted to see how strong his physique was. Using unmovable, bright king body, a wave of chi spread out from his feet. The white wave of chi was boiling. He stepped on the ground, and the ground cracked. He stretched out his arm and clenched his fist. The spinning wave of chi was attached to his fist, dragging out a long tail. The black-robed man was shocked and hollered. He placed his palms together and pushed forwards. Pong! Fist and palm clashed, and there was a low and heavy sound. The black-robed man's face was filled with blood. His arms bent, and his palms slowly deformed. He was actually unable to block it. Bug shadow, he hollered. The black-robed man's body seemed to be made up of numerous bugs. With a paw, he turned into many bugs. It was a really weird martial path cultivation technique. Lin Fan raised his head and was really curious when he saw those scenes. He instantly pulled out his blade and slashed. Internal strength surged out, turning into a blade glow. When other people slashed, they would at most use up a bit of internal strength. However, each time he slashed, he used his strongest internal strength. This wasn't the end. At that moment, Lin Fan's arm turned into an afterimage. The blade in his hand was so quick that one could only see its shadow. It was so dense that it blocked the path in front of him. To Lin Fan, internal strength was endless, and he could slash without limit. The blade glow intersected, forming a giant net that locked down everything. Numerous bugs were killed. The blade glow landed on the ground and directly sliced a deep hole in the ground. Although it wasn't shocking, it was really terrifying. As expected, internal strength felt much better. Poochie, the black-robed man appeared, but he used one hand to support himself. He couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of fresh blood. His nose and mouth bled, and the wounds on his body were really terrifying. It was so serious that one could see his white bones. His expression was one of shock, terror, and even disbelief. How was that possible? He had no energy left to fight. He was defeated right away, and that was something he couldn't accept. Rage points plus 666. Leave quickly. Return to the gang and tell the hall leader about the situation here. The black-robed man hollered towards the people hiding in the darkness. He knew that the mission had failed. Out of the 4 black-robed men, he was the strongest. He was at the middle of martial path grade 9 and was good at weird cultivation techniques. Even if he faced someone at the peak of grade 9, he would be able to fight. Even if he lost, he wouldn't lose so quickly. Actually, he was thinking too much. Although Zhou Zhongmao was only initial grade 9. The cultivation technique he cultivated was really amazing, and his foundations were strong. Facing Zhou Zhongmao, he wouldn't be able to hold on for long. To true martial path geniuses, even if they were a realm apart, one would know whether or not they could win. Not to mention, it was just a small realm. Rage points plus 444. Rage points plus 444. Rage points plus 555. Lin Fan wasn't prepared to let these people leave. He had to have some fun. Suddenly, in the distance, a dark energy boiled. Even if it was nighttime, one could see the dark energy that gathered. The Yin demons were here. Who knew that they would come at such a time? It really wasn't the time. Cousin, bring young Master Chun and let's leave, Lin Fan said. He had an initial understanding of his own strength, but he didn't want to continue fighting with these endless Yin demons. As for those people, they couldn't escape. The Yin demons were much crueler than him. In the night, it was really tough to escape from the Yin demons. Zhou Zhongmao carried Chen Shangyao on his shoulder. Chen Shangyao shouted, Sect Leader Lin, you haven't taken the antidote. If you want to leave, you have to let me find it first. What a waste. Lin Fan and Zhou Zhongmao jumped up and swiftly left the area. The black-robed man who spat out fresh blood looked into the distance in disbelief. His face was devoid of blood. Yin demon? How would there be Yin demons here? Impossible. That is impossible. Chapter 160. Screams of terror spread out from behind. Listening to his voice, one would notice that his control over music was really amazing. The high notes were accurate, the middle notes were sweet, and the low notes were low. The voice was close to one's ear, and the mouth shape was really clear. Anyways, one sentence was really clear. Rage points plus 666. Rage points plus 555. Where did the rage points come from? What did it have to do with me? I didn't attract the Yin demons over. They were the ones who chose this place. So what was the point of being angry at me? Chen Xingyao's face was ashen white, and he was filled with despair. My antidote. Without it, even if he was saved, what was the point? He would still die. The Yin demons in the night were filled with strength, like they were on drugs. Their four limbs crossed as they climbed. Illusions appeared, and they roared out. Any living being was food in their mouths. Cousin, throw, Lin Fan said. When one was outside, one had to follow the safety laws. If not, one's corpse wouldn't be left, and one's family wouldn't have corpses to send off. Zhou Zhongmao took out a bamboo tube from his waist, and he threw it behind him. The bamboo tube exploded in the air, and an eye-piercing golden light exploded out. Zhang Tianshan had two types of bamboo tubes to deal with the Yin demons. One was white, and the other was golden. It was obvious that the golden light was stronger. The Yin demons that followed closely behind were wrapped in the golden light. Black smoke rose up from their bodies, and their limbs slid. They roared as they rolled on the ground. It was obvious that they were badly injured. I told you not to follow, but you still chased shamelessly. Lin Fan didn't have anything to say to these Yin demons. Their brains were lacking, and they just felt like fools. Speaking of which, Zhang Tianshan's thing was really useful. These Yin demons were so pitiful, rolling on the ground, and they didn't even have a chance to get close. How pitiful. The four black-robed men from Nine Bug Gang were all sick in the head. Why were they negotiating in the middle of the night? There were so many Yin demons around Jiang City, so how strong were they? Even he didn't dare to fight them head-on, but they came out in the middle of the night to ask to die. They really overestimated themselves. Although the four black-robed men were strong, facing the endless Yin demons, they couldn't hold on for long. Moreover, one of them had no strength to fight back at all. His injuries didn't seem serious, but he knew that he couldn't even lift a finger. The Yin demons stepped on the four of them. They didn't suck their blood or swallow their flesh and blood like they were waiting for something. The black-robed man was filled with despair. They knew how cruel the Yin demons were. As long as they were caught, it was impossible for them to keep their corpses. The situation now was a little different. These Yin demons didn't attack. Instead, they seemed to be waiting for something. The four of them were delighted. The Een demons didn't swallow them, which meant that there was a chance to talk. As long as they could talk, everything was fine. Even the Een demons had heard of 9 Bug Gang's name. Just at that moment, the four of them saw the Een demons open up a path. They were shocked and didn't know who had come. A 3-meter-tall Een demon slowly walked over. Its body was hidden in the darkness, but a fierce aura surged around it. "Een demon heroes, we can talk," the black-robed man said. The big Een demon's red eyes were like rubies, shining with a devilish glow. He was very unfriendly toward humans. The torture on Marshall Path Mountain was fresh in his mind. He was tortured every night. Who said that Een demons didn't have feelings and wouldn't dream? They all did. The big Een demon's heart was heavily injured, slowly developing in a perverted direction. "Bring them back. I want to torture them." The big Een demon's voice was dark and sunken. He was even a little excited, like something that made him excited was about to happen. "Damn humans, how you treat me, I will treat your people the same way. I will let you know that Een demons weren't easy to deal with." Since the big Een demon recovered from his collapse, his demonic divinity was already deformed. The black-robed man was terrified. This Een demon was a little different. He panicked. "We can talk about it. We are from 9 Bug Gang, maybe pong." Before he finished, the big Een demon punched and knocked him out. The big Een demon hollered, "I want you scum humans to experience my pain. None of you can think about running." The other 3 black-robed men looked at the big Een demon in fear. They panicked and felt like something wasn't right. What did this big Een demon face here? Why did it feel a little perverted? Lin Fan and the others returned safely. After Cousin tossed out a few bamboo tubes, the Een demons didn't chase. The golden light stung them, and they didn't dare to chase. Marshall Path Mountain. Zhou Zhongmao placed Chun Shengyao down and stood beside Cousin quietly. Zhang Tianshan's things were really useful. The Een demons couldn't get close. Lin Fan pretended to wipe the sweat off his forehead. "Young Master Chun, it really wasn't easy to save you. Luckily, you were safe. You can stay on Marshall Path Mountain and return to Chun family tomorrow." Those words weren't from his heart. He actually said that it wasn't easy to save him. It was just a simple matter, and he didn't use much strength at all. Chun Shengyao slumped to the ground, feeling hopeless. He muttered to himself, "I'm going to die. I won't live past tomorrow morning. Without the antidote, I'm really going to die. This has nothing to do with me. I'm innocent. I'm really innocent." He didn't think that the black-robed man was scaring him. He would really die. Sect Leader Lin, "Can you go back and find the antidote for me? I can pay any price." Chun Xingyao hugged Lin Fan's leg and cried. He was heartbroken. "I'm the only one left in Chun family. If I die, then my Chun family will have no descendants. Sect Leader Lin, just forget about our past grievances and help me find the antidote, okay? Young Master Chun, calm down. I can understand your pain, but it isn't that I won't help you. You saw the situation. It is nighttime, and the Een demons have come out. I don't have the ability to get the antidote from them." Lin Fan patted Chun Xingyao's shoulder and said, "Find the antidote? That was impossible." He didn't tell Chun Shengyao that he could solve his situation, but he couldn't solve it now. Sometimes, only when one was in despair would one be able to use their greatest strength. Chun Xingyao wanted to say something, but for some reason, he felt his chest tighten and dizzy. He couldn't breathe and directly fainted to the ground. "Cousin, he fainted," Zhou Zhongmao said, "and I saw it." Lin Fan replied really calmly, "Cousin, it is late, go rest. Help him into the room and inform the Chun family to bring him back." Wolf Brigade Forest. The 4 black-robed men from 9 Bug Gang looked at the scenes in front of them in panic. They didn't understand what the Een demon was doing. The big Een demon uprooted a tree and roared out in rage. "How you treat me, I will treat your people." Rage points plus 111. Very quickly, the big Een demon uprooted 8 trees and tied them together to form 4 crosses. He then tied the black-robed men on them. "Een demon warriors, let's talk nicely. We are from 9 Bug Gang. You should know what kind of existence we are, right?" The black-robed man said in panic. What a waste. The big Een demon was replaced by rage, so he didn't care about what they said. The other Een demons looked on. They didn't understand what the big Een demon was doing. The big demon lit a fire and lit a stick. He walked in front of the 4 black-robed men and violently ripped apart their clothes. Damn! Damn! The black-robed men felt that things weren't right. They actually had other thoughts. Did these demons want to do something unpleasant to them? If that was the case, they would rather die to protect their last bit of pride. The big demon picked up the burning stick. A vicious smile appeared on his face. He walked in front of the black-robed man and placed the burning stick somewhere. Feel the heat of the flames. I will help you dispel the poison. He didn't say those words. The human said those words to him. Therefore, he was going to return these words to the human's fellow clansmen. The 4 black-robed men were shocked. Demon, were they sick in the head? They wanted to scold, but shortly after, they couldn't even say a word. The dark forest resounded with inhuman screams, as if it was an abyss from hell. No one knew what kind of torture the 4 of them would suffer, but if they could satisfy the perverted thoughts of the big demon, then they would be of great use. The sky slowly turned bright. Chun Shengyao was woken up by the pain. He looked around in shock. Where was he? Was he already dead? No, he wasn't dead, but he could feel the pain spreading on his body. So painful. Chun Shengyao covered his chest. Shortly after, he felt a little wet. He opened his palm. His white and tender palm was actually red, giving off a thick stench of blood. What happened to me? He ripped open his clothes. His chest swelled up, forming a pustule like something was about to come out. Large amounts of fresh blood was squeezed out and flowed all over his body. No, I don't want to die. The sudden change terrified Chun Shengyao. He wiped the corner of his eyes and lowered his head. The back of his hand was covered in fresh blood. He walked in front of the mirror and noticed that blood flowed from the corner of his eyes. It was really vicious and terrifying. No, he cried out. He just wanted to live. However, more and more blood flowed out from his body. Terror covered his heart. His face withered up, his eyes sunken like he had been starving for a long time. He was so thin that only skin was left. Death got closer and closer. He felt like he was about to die. In fact, he had thought that he might be able to survive, and the insects that the other party fed him might not be poisonous. But now, it seemed that he was thinking too much. All of this was real. Suddenly, the door was pushed open. Lin Fan walked in and pressed his palm onto Chun Shengyao's stomach. I can temporarily suppress it for a period of time. Maybe Chun Shengyao heard those words. When he fainted, he smiled and then fell asleep. Haze, sometimes luck is really important, Lin Fan muttered. You're tuning in to the Warrior Lore YouTube channel. Don't forget to subscribe and join us on this journey to catch the most captivating stories.